Okay, so just doing a little bit of cooking tonight. Some revisions and things based off of, I think this is Blue's spell feedback document. So I'm just making some revisions to the spells tonight. So far, I've made a lot of these changes, concentration, reactions, like clarifying a lot of these things. I think all of this has all been clarified. I added like, what does adjacent mean? What does a cone? Like that kind of stuff. All of those are fine. Concentration, it's like all concentration we've clarified, range checks, saver sucks. So this is where we are. The largest bane, and I'll zoom in a little bit. And then I think for everybody on Discord, I have to share my whole screen so Discord can see. Change windows, screens, entire screen. So we've been streaming for, maybe 10, 20 minutes. And then someone asked for Edward that I start recording. So here we are. So there's a good point about Saber Suck spells, about Cryo Tomb and Unspeakable Word in particular. I think they're far less Saber Suck than many of the 5e spells, but just because they're better than 5e spells doesn't mean we can't make them even better. Like, that doesn't mean that there should be any suck in the Saber Suck spells. So we started with Unspeakable Word. I think we got it to a pretty cool spot. I like how it is. So Unspeakable Word now. A target within reach must make an int save or suffer 6d12 plus 30 necrotic damage. So boatload of necrotic damage rather than just dying. And they are frightened. So a nice little bonus. We should probably specify for how long. I don't know. Maybe it's just this. They take necrotic damage. Maybe it's just that. And then if they succeed, just so I don't have to worry about duration stuff, maybe I'll add it back. If they succeed, you both take this. You both take half of this damage instead. So rather than you die or I die, like really swingy, really extreme, it's still really powerful. It deals like 70 damage, I think, on average. It's still really powerful, but it's not either you die or I'm gonna die. It's you take 70 damage, or we both take 35 damage. So I think that's like we brought up the floor, we brought down the ceiling to make it more of like a spell that non-crazy people would want to cast. But the target has disadvantage on the save if they're bloodied or frightened, which I think is pretty sweet. There we go. So Unspeakable Word, still a cool, spicy, really necrotic feeling spell. But a little bit less swingy, a little bit less crazy, a little bit less gonzo. Unspeakable Word was one of the very first spells that I designed because I thought it would be so cool. What if there was a spell that just made someone die? And if they see a save, you die. How cool would that be? Sounds pretty cool. Practicality, a lot of people just wouldn't cast it. Or there'd be that one hero who casts it all the time and either has very, very good luck or very, very bad luck. So Cryo Tomb, we're cooking on Cryo Tomb now. Bruno says, crazy idea. What if Cryo Tomb's save can be repeated every round, but if the monster succeeds, the caster can take a wound to make them fail or roll a disadvantage instead. And then when the monster fails 3 times, then they can try again only after 3 days. Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool. Combined with the Death Ward effect is OP. Yeah. Cryo Tomb. Yeah, so I like the idea. Is like they break out, like they can break out every round. Or like every so requiring concentration, and every round of concentration you suffer a wound. Like those are some cool ideas. Let's go here. Oh, and we fiddled with assess a lot too. Maybe I'll get you guys feedback on that. But assess has been improved a good bit, I think. So what was it? What was the idea? I forgot already. Require. Oh, let's put it down here. Require concentration. Each round you suffer a wound. Whenever they save, they roll a save each round. Whenever they roll, save each round. Whenever they save, you may suffer a wound to hold the ice. To make the ice hold. Yeah. So rather than a narrative thing, it really is just a combat spell. So the first ideas that we had with Crowd Tomb, so maybe it's not a save any longer. Maybe it just takes longer to cast. Like maybe 4 instead of what is it? 3 actions instead of 3 actions. Maybe it could be 4 or 6 actions. So this isn't something you could just do blam like right off the outset. You need your allies to help you cast this across multiple turns, or someone gives you additional actions, or like there needs to be some teamwork and setup. That might be kind of cool. Or what if it's like a 1 minute casting time? So like it is strictly narrative rather than something you would ever like cast in combat. So it's just a narrative thing that so quests can be made around. So if we do that, then we would want to add an additional spell, because then Ice School has like fewer spells than others. So I'd want to add like another, like maybe a level 7 or a tier 7 spell, that kind of thing. A spell that I'm thinking about is like a low grade sleep spell, where it targets one guy or maybe a small area of people, and then like damage or noise or shaking, like they can be awakened fairly easily. Just like where you can temporarily cut some people out of combat. So those are some of the ideas that we're cooking on so far. Combined with a death ward effect, you risk freezing with them. I think what I managed with Crowd Tomb is so far that is almost a skip combat button for solo monsters. The wounds for each round the ice is maintained would help. Yeah. Yeah, it could be a skip combat. So it's not a skip combat button. It is like banishment. Like, so we were talking about banishment, and we and some other spells we busted out the player's handbook. So banishment is a skip, or can be a skip combat button, because if you just maintain it for 1 minute, they just are permanently banished. Cryo Tomb is like pause combat button. Come back to it later. Like, it doesn't actually deal with them. It's a pause, right? So you pause combat, and then you come back, and you still have the problem to figure out. Is that fun though? I don't know. It doesn't. It's a fun narrative thing to have happen. Is it a fun thing to have heroes do at the table? I'm not sure. Like, having NPCs do this might be cool. So maybe Cryotomb could be like a secret spell, and then like some other spell could replace it. Let's cook up a cool. Let's cook up a cool. Let's cook up a cool sleep spell. Let's cook up a cool sleep spell. What was the name? I really did like the name of that one spell that someone came up with. I really liked the name of that one spell. What was it? The SRD. I don't remember. Someone had a cool name of a spell. We'll just say cryo slumber. Yeah, I like one word. One's gonna try to break the ice whenever they do, so the caster takes that much damage if they go to zoom. Yeah, man, that's kind of cool. I don't like about them freezing instead, but maybe it's cool. Like it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea. So what would cryo slumber do, and what tier would that be? Like, cryo slumber could just be like the tier 7 spell. So fire gets a tier 7. So 5, 7, 9. Ice gets 4, 5, 8, 9. So So what if instead of cryo slumber it was cryo tomb, or the other way around? This cryo tomb allows you to have Captain America as your backstory. Yeah. That's right. All right, so let's make a low level. We'll do a low level one and a high level one just so we can think about what the difference would be mechanically. Low level, high level. Small area, big area. Or what it was, okay, what if it was low level and you could upcast it to make it a bigger area? So, 1 by 1. 1 by 1 area. So it could only be like a medium or smaller creature. And this would probably be a either will or strength save, not intelligence. Intelligence doesn't have to do with it. It would either be like their will, their stubbornness, or their strength. I'm guessing strength to resist like this cold, to resist the cold effect. Cold field, physical, yeah. Strength, save. So tier X, 2 actions. So upcasting +1 area. And then +1 round. Sleep for 1 round. Magical sleepiness feels like will. Yeah, that's fair. Prone, incapacitated, prone, and incapacitated. Until damaged. Any sufficiently loud noise. Okay, so what would be a sufficiently loud noise? We'll figure that out. Lightning, thunder, that kind of thing, maybe? Perhaps. Or she can... Shaken awake by an ally. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Chris the DM, hey. So it could be a low level spell, 1 by 1 area, and then as you upcast it, you can do 2 by 2, so you can target a large creature, or 3 by 3, a huge creature. Howdy. That's interpretation. Yeah, I would need to hone that a little bit. I kind of like that. I kind of like cryo slumber. Range. So range should be the same range as the other ice spells. 12. Cryo slumber. It's a pretty cool spell. It looks like hypnotic pattern. Ooh, let's look up hypnotic pattern. It's one of those spells that I've always heard of, but the name sounds so dumb that I've never... Hypnotic pattern? I've never read it. Concentration up to 1 minute. Range on 20 feet. A pinch of confetti. You create a twisting pattern of colors, a 30-foot cube within range. Wow, 30-foot cube. The pattern appears for a moment and vanishes. And this is only a level 3 spell. So it'll be tier 3s, it'll be like level 6. Each creature in the area who can see the pattern must succeed on a whiz save or have the charmed condition for the duration. While charmed, the creature has the incapacitated condition. They're incapacitated. Must succeed on a whiz save or be incapacitated. Ugh. The spell ends for an affected creature if it takes any damage or if someone else uses an action to shake the creature out of its stupor. Yeah, similar to that. Less busted, like a 30-foot cube. That's kind of insane. 30-foot cube is insane. Yeah, that's insane. Why would it charm them and incapacitate? See, like, I've got qualms about this. So maybe, so let me think. So if I was playing a mage, would I use 2 actions? Would I use basically a whole turn to temporarily take 1 creature out of commission for a round? Probably not. Probably not. It would probably need to be just a little bit stronger, unless it was like a cantrip. It would probably have to be like a 2x2 area. So like maybe I could get 2 or 3 creatures, 4 tops, but like when is that ever gonna happen? Like maybe I could get a few different creatures. And even if it's only for 1 round, like making them lose a turn, like that's pretty cool. And then like the DM can like always just don't clump up creatures as much, you know? Or clump them up, man. Let the heroes do the cool thing. Like so like a 10x10 area, like 30x30, how big even is that? 30 divided by 5 times. Yeah, that's 36 squares. That's up to 36 creatures. I mean, I know you can never get that many creatures, but like that's like so many. Like 4, like a 2x2, a 2x2 square is huge. Like 30x30, that's massive. I kind of like this spell. 2x2 area, strength save, sleep for 1 round, prone incapacitate, and prone applies is counts toward slowed. So it's a cool way to combo different things. You know, that's pretty sweet. Maybe that could reduce Icebound Aura, or reduce. Maybe it could replace Icebound Aura. Josh Tron, hey, we're cooking, man. Good to see you. We're cooking. We're doing some cooking, and we're recording too. So we're currently going over, I think it's Blue's spell feedback, talking about the couple of Savor Suck spells that Crowtomb and Unspeakable Word. So we fixed Unspeakable Word. I think it's just it's cool. It's how it is. I voted TPK with Hypnotic Pattern because every single target failed to save. It was like 6 people. It was ridiculous. It probably felt great for you. DM probably hated it. Probably was not a fun night for him. Yeah. So yeah, Unspeakable Word is good. Cryo Tomb, I think we're going to excise it from the list, and I think I'm going to keep it as here's another option. Keep it as a secret narrative spell. Could be given as a scroll / cast by an NPC. Create shenanigans. Thanks, Google. For quests. I think that kind of thing is cool. It doesn't have to be player. It doesn't have to be player facing and like take up one of the player slots if it's not so much fun. Hypnotic Pattern is the one spell I consider on the same level as Fireball. Yeah. Because Because not every spellcaster can learn Fireball, right? And like different spellcasters can learn Hypnotic Pattern. I would probably always pick Fireball, but it's like, you know, it's better than charming them, exploding them. There's life before you get Hypnotic Pattern in Baldur's Gate 3, and then life after you get it. Yeah. I think Cryo Slumber would be pretty cool. Upcast it, +1 area, +1 round. Yeah, that feels cool. 3 by so 2 by 2, like so. 3 by 3 area for 2 rounds, 4 by 4 area for 3 rounds. That's kind of like 3 rounds is a long time. That's as good as like an entire combat. And I like how it can like change the shape of combat as well. I do like how it can change the shape of combat. It probably should be concentration as well. Should be concentration. You guys give me your thoughts on this. Would you, let's say you're playing a mage. How often do you cast Icebound Aura? Reach 12, concentration for 1 minute. So it only costs 1 action, so it's not that bad. The area within reach is difficult terrain. You and 1 ally within reach are immune to this effect, and you can upcast it to increase the number of allies that are immune to it. Is this a spell you cast often, or is this a spell that is like unfun in the sense that like, all right, I'm gonna cast this just so it can kite everybody? Josh says his level 10 group used that to get out of a fight after they completed their objective. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. How did you feel about it, Josh? Was it fun for you, fun for them? Or was it like, oh, I kind of wanted to... was it fun? If I scooch this up, then we can see who's typing, I think. Oh, not that. There you go. All right, so people are typing. So I'm not just sitting here looking, not doing anything. People are typing. And by the way, it's so much fun hanging out with you guys and chatting and cooking and stuff. I was at church this morning talking to one of my buddies who's here on the Discord, Tyler. He's Gideon, and he was like, we were talking about assess, and just as I was telling him like what we're working on, I was describing it's like, oh, yeah, I just started coming up with ideas that like we could do instead or differently tweak it. I liked it. The fight had gone about 3 or 4 rounds already, and they had an easy out of the fight with a sealable door. It was magical zoo. Cool. Didn't feel bad at all. If they used it to kite, I could catch up. I probably get frustrated, yeah. I'll cast it. Bruto said not offer though. I would cast against heavy numbered melee opponents. Yeah. I'm worried that this might be a feels bad thing. Like just an automatic difficult terrain. If we had cryo sleep in here, like some version of cryo sleep here at tier 4, instead of Icebound Aura, would any of you say, no, yeah, let's get rid of cryo sleep and put in Icebound Aura? Or would it be obvious like, oh no, this one's way better. Like this one's way more fun, less abusable, it's more interactive, like it changes the shape of the battlefield in a cool way. That kind of thing. Would anybody choose cryo slumber? I think it should be cryo sleep. Cryo sleep just sounds easier. So let's say tier 4 just so we can compare. Tier 4. And if it's tier 4, it should probably sleep for 2 rounds. 2 by 2 area, 2 rounds, upcast it, 3 by 3, 3 rounds. That feels fine. What is cryo slumber? I can't see, it's too small. Oh. Let's zoom in. Are you on your phone, Josh? Cryo sleep. Tier 4, 2 actions. This is just what it is currently. We're still cooking. Concentration, maybe. Range, 12. 2x2 area within range. Strength save, or they are sleep for 2 rounds. They're prone, incapacitated until damaged, or shaken awake by an ally. It was just tiny, okay. It's like a temporary crowd control thing. Temporary crowd control thing that is like interactive. Like if there's like one particularly problematic creature, or like 2 guys who are like really messing you up, like you can just like bloop. If this was in here initially, would anybody say like, ooh, that one's not as much fun. I'd rarely cast that. Let's put in like Icebound Aura. Like would anybody say that? I think that's a good way to think about it. Not sure what else I would do with Icebound Aura. It seems like it's mainly for kiting, but I don't know how much. Kiting is like the opposite of what I want. I want to avoid kiting like the plague. Kiting is a particularly unfun tactic in a multiplayer cooperative game. Like in a multiplayer cooperative game. Cryo sleep. So you could cryo sleep, and the next turn, boom, frost nova, because they're already proned, and then they can be incapacitated. You might lock them. Does cryo sleep also target allies? Could. Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't. So it's a relatively small area, so you should be able to arrange it so that you don't hit an ally. I think if you added that, adding in something in the gym guide or core about the loud casting spells would be good also. They take damage. I think the any sufficiently loud noise is just too vague to be helpful. Until damaged or shaken awake by an ally. I think those are, because like the commander's shouting and like there's like blades ching ching ha, ah, people screaming. Like I stab this guy. Does he make a loud noise or is he quiet? You put his friend to sleep and the guy's across the thing, but he starts yelling, "Hey, Bobbert the Goblin, wake up, Boblin the Goblin." You know, so I it would just remove that. Like so, if they're damaged, they wake up. If if an ally comes and wastes, or wastes one of their attacks or something to like instead of attacking, they use their action to shake them. Bruno, you would use cryo sleep more. Yeah, I don't like the kiting aspect of Icebound Aura. Icebound Aura is supposed to be a thing where you can set up other cool. You can set up the slow status, right? For other things that want slow. But cryo sleep would do the same thing because prone is slow. I'm pretty slow when I'm sleeping. I definitely use cryo sleep more though. Okay. Okay. And then so we could put cryo sleep here, and maybe glacier strike could be the tier 8 spell, because like glacier strike is a sweet spell. Tier 5. Tier 5. So basically, I'm thinking for the mage. I want at every time the mage gets new spells, I want them to get like one new cool damaging spell. So at tier 3, fire gets flame barrier, a defensive one. Ice gets frost nova, and lightning gets chain lightning, right? So they're like two damaging spells, one positioning spell. At tier 4, we get pyroclasm, and then like trickery, like a utility spell. Not actually utility, and then Icebound Aura, right? And then tier 5, we get Glacier Strike for ice, and then Fire Embrace, this sort of utility kind of thing. And then Electro Charge, right? So I think tier 5 has to be Glacier Strike now that I think it out loud. So Icebound Aura, so we're fixing problems that were not listed as a problem. Seems reasonable to swap Icebound Aura out for Cryo Sleep. I'd like to have it earlier than tier 8. I'd like to have it earlier than tier 8. Like tier 4 seems like about right. Like level 8, you get some crowd control. Like tier yeah, tier 3 or tier 4 would be is about right. Some players trying to argue that you don't have to use an action to shake someone if it isn't specified. Yeah, I mean, like I could definitely work on the wording, certainly. Okay, so when is the appropriate level for that? Definitely not cantrip. Tier 1. Tier 1. What if Frost Shield was a tier 1 spell? Shield is a tier 2 spell, right? Like the actual shield spell? Or level 2? Oh, shield is a level 1 spell. Interesting. Interesting. Shield is very early. I didn't realize that. So what if Frost Shield, because fire already gets Ignite, a damaging spell. Lightning gets Arc Lightning. We don't need 3 damaging spells at tier 1. Let's do a little bit of flippity flop. All right, so let's just copy this text. I don't want to bust up all my formatting. All right, so we've got tier 1. So what if Frost Shield was tier 1 instead? Let's just see what that looks like. Let's say Frost Shield was tier 1. Glacial Shard might be tier 2. And then our new Cryo Sleep is tier 3. Let's get the Cryo Sleep. Tier 3, I like it at tier 3 better. Concentration, probably not consummate. Yeah, maybe concentration. Range 12. 2x2 area. So what net what do we do? Oh, Frost Nova. So Frost Nova is Frost Nova. Okay, there's Frost Nova. Okay, so Glacial Shard. Frost Nova. Should all right, so when are the big AoE spells for these? Shield A, aka best spell for best void magic initiate feat. Yeah. Okay, so tier 4, you get Pyroclasm. Tier 3, we get Chain Lightning. And tier 3, Frost Nova. What do we get for tier 2? Tier 2, Enchant Weapon. Tier 2 is kind of lame for fire. What do we get for tier 2 here? Tier 2, we get Alacrity. It's like a defensive thing. So Glacial Shard should be tier 2. Glacial Shard. And since it's tier 2, it should be 4d6, so basically you're upcasting it. Yeah. Okay, so it's tier 2, Frost Nova. Maybe Frost Nova could just be like a much, much higher spell. What if we replace Cryo Tomb with Frost Nova and make it like super strong? Is that enough spells? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What happened? So we lost Icebound Aura and Cryo Tomb. Then we added Cryo Sleep. What do you guys think? All right, so Cryo, I think Icebound Aura needs to go. I think I have more problems with Icebound Aura than I do for Cryo Tomb. I'll say that. So let's just go ahead and add that. I think Cryo Sleep is just a much better, a much more fun spell. Cryo Sleep, tier 4, 2 actions. Reach 12. Creatures in a 2x2 area must make a strength save or fall asleep for 2 rounds. They are prone and incapacitated. Fall asleep. They're prone and incapacitated for 2 rounds or 2 rounds or until damaged or shaken awake by an ally. There we go, Josh. We got it. Okay, let's read it. Reach 12. Creatures in a 2x2, and this should be range probably. Range 12. Creatures in 2x2 area within range must make a strength save or fall asleep. They are prone and incapacitated for 2 rounds or until damaged. 2 rounds. Or until damaged or an ally uses an action to shake them awake. +1 area and +1 round. That feels good. Range 12 sounds like a lot to me. Yeah, I'll figure the wording. It's only 60 feet. It's only 60 feet. Yeah, range 12 feels good, but in reality, it's not that much. Hypnotic pattern has a range of 120 feet. Yeah. Yeah, the ranges in 5e are a little bit spicy. So Cryo Sleep is already better. Now that it's in here, can we swap things around? Is this good enough as a tier 4 spell? I think it'd be a better tier 3 spell. defend for free, gain key times 2 temp HP. Okay, so at level, let's say at level 2, when you get your tier 1 spells, that will be like 6 temp HP. And then you might have like 3 armor, 9. Yeah, that's pretty good. Frost Shield is good enough to require 2 mana, I think. So I don't know, you guys tell me. So Frost Shield. Is it good enough as a tier 1 spell? Or is it too good to be a tier 1 spell? So you defend for free. You can only do it once per round. You can't just Frost Shield. Let's say you have let's go to the heroes. Let's go to let's go to the core rules. So mage is going to have 2+ dex. So let's say our mage gets +1 dex. So they have 3 armor. Mage has 3 armor and 2 int. Just to be actually, let's see. What array will? Let's say they picked the min max array. What happened here? I don't know what's going on there, but I don't like it. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's say they picked the balanced or the standard array. No, they picked the balanced. So 2 int. So their key is going to be 2. So 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to be like 7 temp HP. That's pretty good. Yeah, for leisure monsters, it would just be 2 of their turns. So, and yeah, we can update the wording there. Yeah. Yeah. But also they awake like the first time they take damage. Josh says, my only concern is still this lockdowns leisure monsters without someone to wake them for 2 rounds. Spellblades would be happy to pick Ice Shield at tier 1. Yeah. Yeah, I think Frost Shield at tier 1 is not too bad. Frost Shield's tier 1. So we're just swapping them just so I don't get confused myself too much. So we're just swapping the place. Okay, Frost Shield at tier 1 feels cool. So you get Frost Shield first, and then you get Alacrity, and then you get Flame Barrier. That's pretty cool. All right, so let me ask you guys this. Well, I'll come back to that. It's not much in the way of additional HP. So yeah, now when you spend 2 mana, so if you upcast it at level 4, your int goes up from 2 to 3. So it's gonna be 3 times 2. So it's gonna be 6. So 6 plus. So you'll be gaining 10. Your armor's 3. 9. You'd be gaining more. You'd be gaining more temp HP. It's what I'm saying. Is there any class I would hate to pick a defensive spell only at tier 1 because they don't have another alternative? There's no class that knows only ice. So the mage knows fire, ice, lightning. The Songweaver knows wind and whatever they want. Others know like necrotic and like other things, and necrotic and cold or necrotic and fire. There's necrotic and radiant. There's radiant only. Yeah, so there's no ice only. Stormshifter has wind and lightning. Yeah, everybody's got solid cantrips. Yeah, so back to go back to the bosses thing that Josh was talking about. Yeah, so the first time they take damage, then they're wakened up. So you can only abuse it Yeah, you can't really abuse this with bosses, I don't think. Okay, Frost Nova. So tier 3. What do we got going on tier 3 with fire? So let's compare Frost Shield now with Flame Barrier. Would I ever use Flame Barrier? Defend for free, then just start your next turn. Melee attackers against you take key damage and gain smoldering. So key, it's going to be 2 or 3 damage. So melee attackers take 2 or 3 damage. Really good against minions, obviously. And then smoldering is quite good for ignite and pyroclasm. So yeah, I could see myself wanting to cast this sometime. I could see myself wanting to cast that. IMHO. With boss, you can spend 2 rounds healing. That feels. Well, it would just be 2 turns. So yeah, let's fix the wording. There, next 2 turns. Yeah, so it would just be like the next 2 players could go. I really like how we can design legendary monsters that can be incapacitated and it not be super duper OP and not have to use legendary resistances. I really like a lot of the solutions that we've come to. They feel fair and fun and cool and tactical and trade-offs and all that kind of stuff, yeah. But Bruno says, but it gets 10 HP non armor, doesn't it? Yeah, but so it gets 10 HP and then you defend for free. So if you gain like 6 temp HP and they hit you for 7, the temp, so like you defend the first 3 or you dodge the first 3 and then you have like this temp HP remaining. So defend reduces the damage by that, avoids that much damage, and then if you have any more damage, then your hit points is damaged. If you have temp HP, your temp HP is damaged before your hit points. So defend, then temp HP, and then your regular HP. Sorry, I still miss legendary resistances. I think the way that the legendary monsters have shaped up recently, I haven't released an updated GM guide in a while, but I think the tweaks that we made are good. Compensate for that a lot. They still have weaknesses and strengths, and like if you do this, then you know other things happen. So it's quasi legendary resistances. It's the same concept without the unfunness of it. I do hope to release the next version of GM guide soon. Okay, so alacrity. Would I ever use alacrity? Yeah, I would definitely use alacrity at some point. Whenever where I'm standing matters. So we have a defensive thing we can cast for 1, 2, or 3 mana. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's think. I think Cryosleep needs to be sooner. Okay, what are we doing at tier 3? We get Flame Barrier. Okay, no, that's not that fun at tier 3. Chain Lightning at tier 3 is good. So I think it's okay that we don't have Frost Nova at tier 3. So Frost Nova could maybe be the tier 5 spell. Cut. Oh. Where did we do? Okay, so I think I've got a hidden character break here. There we go. Okay, so let's cut Frost Nova. And we'll make Cryosleep tier 3. And then move Frost Nova here. Sorry, I was muted. Trex might be saying it's overkill for spellblades because their armor would reduce damage to 0 anyways. It might, but so spellblades, spellblades they have like very very limited mana, and they have lots of things they want to spend their combat dice on, and they use those for mana. I don't think that would be too OP because they're giving up a lot of other things. It would just be like, you know, a few temp HP. Adding a little survivability I think is cool. Just walking around coated in ice. I think if I was a spellblade, that'd be one of the first things I learned. Save my life. Okay, so Frostnova and Glacier Strike need to be stronger since we move them up in the tier, and Cryo Sleep as a tier 3 spell feels pretty cool. Level 6, you can start putting things to sleep. Okay, so for tier 5, so Frostnova was what? Tier 3. Tier 5. How much damage does tier 5 spell do? Updraft, that's not helpful. Tier 5. 50. 50 damage. Tier 5. 60, 12. Tier 5 is pretty spicy. Okay, so let's. I'm just gonna make it 66 just for now. So it's something. Let's look at level 5 spells. What's a good AOE level 5 spell? Let's go by school. Let's go down to evocation. Maelstrom? I've never even heard of that. 66. Okay. Swirling mass, 5 foot deep water, pillars of 3 foot radius, center point of the point must be going. Okay. Difficult terrain, creature. Okay, it's kind of cool. Cone of Cold is Cone. I think it is Cone of Cold. Yeah, Cone of Cold is probably the iconic one. Oh wow, that's 8d8. Con save, and I think instead of Dex save, it should probably be Strength save. Cold, it targets the constitution of the body. Fire targets the dex. And then lightning is just like, you're zapped. You just get zapped. Cone of Cold. Unleash blast cold air. Each creature 60-foot cone. Originating from you. Con save. 88 damage. Failed save. Half is on a success. Okay. 88 damage on a cone. That's cool. So 8d8. Other creature. So because there's no save for the damage, I think the damage does need to be lower. So this is just frost over. Boom. You take 66 damage. This area is difficult terrain until the start of your next turn. Surviving creatures must make a strength save or fall prone. Rather than fall prone, because that doesn't make sense. Strength save or have their. No, it's already difficult terrain. They're already standing in difficult terrain. Prone might be okay. Excuse me. Do we have anything that knocks prone? Advantage to get slowed. Glacial Shard can knock prone on crit. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to change too much. But strength save or falling prone doesn't make sense. Ooh, what if it's a strength save or be frozen in place for 1 turn? Yeah, that makes more sense. Surviving creatures must make a strength save or be frozen in place for 1 turn. Creatures that were already slowed are incapacitated for 1 turn instead. Booyah. We did it. I like it. That's much more fun. Prone didn't make sense. Yeah, it's slippy, so it's difficult terrain, but it's already difficult terrain. Surviving creatures must make a strength save or be frozen in place. Yeah, they're too weak to bust out of the ice, but the ice just sort of melts after a little bit. But if you're already slowed and you get blasted with ice, then you're just like frozen solid. You're not just frozen in place, you're frozen solid. That thematically makes more sense, and I think that's a pretty fun tier 5 spell. Only 2 actions. Okay, so we do need to add one more. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we don't have a tier 4 spell. So we do need to come up with a tier 4 spell. Where was that list of spells that someone had that had some good ideas in it? Where was that? Where was that one? Does any Bruno? Do you know what thing? It was like some homebrew channel or something. Homebrew projects. I think it was DM Todd that made it. Do you know? Does anybody know? Yeah, where is that? Let's see if it's here. There it is. DM Todd Bloom. No, that's not it. Spellblade. Spellblade. Lots of stuff about Spellblade. Mage. I think it was with utility spells. Where was that? There's a pretty cool book of spells. That was it. I think that's it. Yeah. Version 1.1. Yeah. Thank you. Not now. Okay. Zoom in. So there's some cool ideas. So, maybe a glacial wall. Yeah, that'd be cool. Some sort of a wall of ice, or like a glyph. So, ice feels like a cool spell school to be able to like freeze a spell in place, that kind of thing. More so than fire. You create a fire glyph on a surface at least 1 foot in size. The glyph is imbued with another fire spell. Glyph, yeah. I don't know about that. Upcast +1 mana, make the glyph invisible. Yeah, so not that. But what if So we need one more ice spell. What are the niches that we're missing? So we got sleep in there. I'm happy about that. I'm happy you got sleep in there. Let's see. Ice wall. There's no sort of like create terrain type of thing. Let's take a look at the secret spells. What secret spells do we have? Let's go to the GM guide. Secret spells. Revive, Spark Fetch, Hearth and Home. Let's work from Graver from. So there are no ice spells. There's no secret ice spells except for Cryotomb. Yeah, freezing a spell like a rune might be cool, but how would that work? That might be challenging. A crazy idea. Ooh, what if the new ice spell summoned X ice daggers? Creatures adjacent to an ice dagger are slowed. Ice daggers can be picked up by anyone used as a dagger. What if? I thought you were going somewhere else with that. Like, what if you surround yourself with ice daggers? Creatures who attack you. Yeah, like Cloud of Daggers. Yeah. Yeah, could use another concentration spell. Surround yourself with ice daggers, or just like surround yourself with shards of ice, and like creatures like whenever you are attacked, one of the ice daggers explodes and etc 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 etc, like something happens. They take a little bit of damage and they're slowed. That might be cool. That might be cool. Crystalline shards. Summon a 3. So this would be concentration. Concentration. Up to 1 minute. Ooh, how about a mirror image that freezes people when they strike the wrong image? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Because like crystalline image. Icy twin. Yeah, something like that. That might be cool. Like Sub-Zero does, yeah. When attacked, roll. When attacked, roll 2d6. When attacked, and melee. Okay, when attacked. Grade 3 floating icy. All right, so let you guys tell me what you think about it. Summon 3 floating icy shards around you. I'm thinking of like bone armor D2. So I'm thinking of like bone armor from D2, where you summon these like the three little floating things that like sort of surround you, and like it absorbs damage, that kind of thing. Like just a little bit cooler. Summon 3 floating icy shards around you. When attacked, roll 2d6. The reduce the damage by that amount, and adjacent creatures take not much cold damage. That's kind of cool. Like 3 explosive shards. You take damage and you sort of like send out a little. It's kind of cool. Crystalline shards. I think that feels very cold. I kind of don't like the idea of like mirror image, like, oh, which one is real? The one that looks like you, or the one that looks like ice? You know, I feel like they'd be able to see that kind of thing. This might be cool. Like give a little bit of extra survivability. A bit too similar to the fire shield spelled, I think. Maybe. Is it too much like Armor of Agathis, which the Spellblade kind of has in their Ice Commander order? Armor of Agathis? Isn't that a 5e spell? Protective Magical Frost. As long as you gave 5 temp HP, if a creature hits you with a melee attack, roll before the spell ends and takes 5 cold damage. Yeah, it is kind of like that. Yeah. And then what do you say? The Spellblade Commander Ice order? I don't know. It's been too long since I've looked at it. Crystalline armor. Melee attackers have their speed halved until the end of the turn. No, it just slows them. It doesn't deal damage. I mean, it's definitely similar. It's like it seems. Hey, Sumer. Tiggs. Trex. 10 man. Yeah. We might be bringing back Cryotomb, boys. All right, I'm gonna keep cooking on that. Let's keep going down the list of spells. Undead in creature types. Withering Touch turns a creature undead, but creature types are never addressed. I mean, like zombies and like zombies, skeletons, undead things. I'm not too worried about like things like that. PvP. AoEs. The ice wall sounds nice. So yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll do ice wall. Ice wall. So, Owlbear Rodeo. So let's pull up Owlbear Rodeo real quick. Just so we can. Okay, so say I'm. All right, say I'm the mage. Come here. Okay, say I'm the mage, and I see, and just I'm by myself. There's all these goblin boys who are coming at me. And without ice wall, on their turn they can just like just move right up next to me. So say I make an ice wall that is 3 squares long. Can they still get me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they can still get me. 1, 2, 3, 4. That takes okay. They can still get me. So it has to be more than 3, probably. More than 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what if it's 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. What? What? Oh yeah, because diagonals. Is ice wall even a useful thing? Like, assuming ice wall does no damage and it only like provides this barrier. Is ice wall even interesting? Like in an open thing, maybe not. It could give cover. Yeah. It could. It could. What if instead of making it diagonal, what if we just extended it thusly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's just because diagonals move you so much further. I don't know. What if we put the wall here? I don't think it matters still, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it normally would take 4 movement. What if they were at their maximum movement? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because diagonals move you so much more. It could block passages. Yeah, if you're inside, it could give cover. If the ice wall had difficult terrain around the wall, it could work. I think. Yeah. So what if it were... Okay, so what if it was like difficult terrain within 5 feet of the wall? Okay. 1, 2. Oh, which one? Let's delete this one. It's because it's confusing me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, and then he'd be stuck there. Or it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he could throw or shoot. Firewall might be a good inspiration on size. I think everything in D&D is just too big, but I mean, I could take a look. I'll take a look. Let's see. We'll just type wall. Prismatic wall, wind wall. I didn't know there's a wind wall. Wall of fire. Level 4, you create a wall of fire in solid surface within range and make a wall up to 60 feet long. Ow. A ringed wall, okay, make a ring. When the wall appears, each creature in this area makes his dex. Okay, dex save, whatever. Okay, wall of ice, level 6. Wow. Okay, wall of ice, formed a hemisphere. Okay, whatever. Blah blah. Radius of 10 feet. Yeah, like I don't like the fiddliness of making a wall. I kind of don't like the fiddliness of it. What if it was just like choose 3 spaces? It's filled with icy spikes. What if it was just something like that? Like ice walls are like just super duper fiddly. All right, so let's delete this. All right, so let's do a little bit more cooking because I'm not ready to give up just yet. I was almost ready to give up. All right, choose 3 spaces. They're filled with icy spikes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then the area adjacent to them is difficult terrain. And icy spikes area, like the icy spikes themselves, like they deal damage or whatever, maybe. So this area is difficult terrain. No. Area adjacent to them. So that's a big area. That's an unintuitively large area. All right, so let's put our little goblin boy back over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now all of a sudden he can't make it. He could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, take damage. Okay. Icy ground might be cool. Ice spikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe a ring instead of a wall. Yeah, I don't know. Like those kinds of things are weird. And then does the wall have hit points? Let's see. Like I kind of don't like wall spells. Wall of ice, if the wall cuts through, make a dex save, cold damage. Like, cold damage never really made sense. Like cold can't hurt you that bad. Like, oh, it's super duper cold. Like walls on object can be damaged as breach. AC 12, 30 hit points per 10-foot section. Immunity cold. I don't know. I don't like adding additional like things that have hit points and stuff. I just kind of don't like that. This might be cool. Like you just put like a patch of icy ground somewhere. So you could just put so all right. Now we're cooking. So you could put the icy spikes in any 3 contiguous unoccupied spaces. So like I could put the icy spikes here, right? So these guys could go it's like I could put them inside the difficult terrain, but I can't just put them inside like on the spikes. That feels fair. Like I can't just put spikes under someone. But if they want to take the quickest path out, right. So this guy, he could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, he's still too far away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's still too far away. and they take damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he could get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I really don't like how. What would Katara do? Yes, she would bend their blood. Is this being recorded, Edward? Yes, your emissary was sent ahead of you. Let me see who it was. Someone said, "In honor of Edward, I ask you to record this." I don't remember who it was. Someone did it. Thank them. I went and saw The Fifth Element. Oh, the movie? I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I kind of like the ice spikes thing. Is 3 squares enough? It was Tiggs. Tiggs did. Good job, Tiggs. All right, so let's type up ice spikes. Ice wall, dumb. Ice spikes. Ice spikes. Concentration up to 1 minute. Yeah. So I think that might be cool because like you could like be over here and all the goblin boys they're like we're gonna go over here, we're gonna go get you, and then like you like teleport like back to the other side of this thing. Like that's really cool. I kind of like that. It makes the so like as a GM like sometimes I'll come up with like a really cool environment with things going on and levels and like sometimes there's like guys this is an open field like just fight them, and then like the players themselves can make the terrain interesting. I do enjoy that. Yeah, we're doing some spell reworking. I'm looking over. I think this was Blue's spell feedback thing. A lot of them were already answered, but a lot of typos I fixed, and we've been cooking on the Saber Suck spells, Cryo Tomb and Unspeakable Word. We fixed Unspeakable Word. We're keeping that. Cryo Tomb was cut. It's moved to the GM guide as like a secret spell, narrative spell, that kind of thing. And we're just moving things around and tweaking things and having fun. So let's do ice spikes. Concentration 1 minute. Create 3 spaces. No, here I'll do select a 1x3 area. Select a 1x3 area. I like that one. So select a 1x3 area. Conjure razor sharp icy spikes in a 1x3 area. Space. This area and spaces. This area and space adjacent to it are difficult. The area is difficult terrain. This area and spaces adjacent to it is difficult terrain. I'll fix the wording. Conjure razor sharp icy spikes in a 1x3 area. Creatures who pass through this area suffer some amount of d6 f4. It shouldn't be too much, like too prohibitive, like 2d6 damage. Cool. Something like that. And if what tier was this going to be? This is going to be a tier 4 spell. So let's see. What is that? What's that spiky spell? Spike growth? Level 2, 2d4. That's not a whole lot. 2d4 for every 5 feet it travels. Ooh. Okay, so having Does contiguous mean what I think it means? Sharing a common border, touching. Okay, so there's that. What if instead of like this like 2-phase thing, what if it was summon, conjure, razor, and in 3 and 4 in 4 touching spaces. Does that make sense? In 4 spaces. Well, sigil is just contiguous. Contiguous. Conjure razor sharp icy spikes in 4 contiguous spaces. Creatures. This area is difficult terrain and something. Emma, you just woke up. It's past midnight. I know you're in Italy. So what is it? Like 7 a.m. there? 8 a.m.? It's still yesterday for me. Oh no, it's today. It's Monday. 6:40, yeah. Good to see you, man. This area is difficult terrain. Okay, so conjure, razor, force, can you use space within the range? So I'm just thinking, so initially what we had was this area. So that area, like having just 4 spaces or 3 spaces that were spooky dangerous. Let's go back to the icy spikes. So like say I could summon icy spikes in those 4 squares. Well, like the problem is that this Gabo here, he could just go like if he was standing here. So let's snap them all here. Well, maybe let's say we were smart about it, and we put the icy spikes like right in front of us. Like don't mess with me, because I got icy spikes. So this guy 1, 2. So normally it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's put them at maximum range to see if it actually does anything. Just remove X-rays, splitting bones in two. There's a move. Oh, there's a move Sub-Zero does. I think it's called. It creates an icy line where he slides fast forward the enemy and ram them with an ice spear in high speed. We can do that. Moving an ally forward and deal. Maybe, yeah. Changes some of the Saber Suck spells like Unspeakable Word and Cryo Tomb. It's working on those. And it's being recorded, so I'll see if I can upload the video in a bit later tonight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's within 5 spaces. All right, so this guy's within 5 spaces. All right, so this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he can't. So that guy does make it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he can't make it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, okay, so none of them could make it. They normally could make it. Yeah, I don't want the GM to just like be able to go around it so much. So that's the problem with these kinds of spells. That it could just be made unfun by the GM, unfortunately. Oh, I'll just go around it. How could we align the incentives for the GM and the players to where you don't just have to rely on the GM who's playing along, or you don't feel bad because obviously the GM's walking right into it and he's playing suboptimally. He's letting us win. Like, I don't like those kinds of feelings. Like, we could just make the spaces so much, just give them a lot more spaces to where the GM has to walk through them. Maybe that's it. It gets stronger or weaker depending on how Euclidean your D&D is. Yeah, diagonal spaces is a tricky thing. Excuse me. And then at that point, if I was just these goblins, I would just be like, fine, I'll just shoot you. I just shoot you with my bow, you know. So it like, is that even a good thing? I don't know. I really like the idea of creating terrain that makes things challenging. Are diagonals actually long if you measure things in spaces, not feet? Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this guy is 6 spaces away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This guy is 6 spaces away. Like, but this guy's like actually way further away. So if we go to measure, he's actually well, it's measuring. It's compensating for us, but it's clearly not 30 feet. It's this. Yeah, so if I actually measure, like, this is 30 feet. How am I feeling? A little bit not great, but I am blessed, and I can't complain. Yeah, so this is a 60-foot circle, and then so this guy's actually 85 feet away, or so half of 85. So like, yeah, if like he should, so this guy should be here. So this is 30 feet, roughly. But that's feet, not spaces. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Spaces is just a feet. A space is 5 feet. So it's just an abstraction. Only just popped in. Hey, Kimono Dragon. Could it be starting your turn in the terrain causes creatures to fall prone if they don't make a dex save? I don't want to have too many triggers to remember, like start of your turn, end of your turn, like that kind of stuff. That's a little bit fiddly. Leaving as abstraction means you don't need to special rules for measuring diagonals. I'm not sure what you're saying, RJ. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, Edward. Yesterday morning, Sunday morning, or this morning, I guess I haven't gone to bed yet. I preached at church, and I did a lesson on gratitude. So you asked me how I was doing. I couldn't say that I was feeling too bad because I've got gratitude, thankfulness on my mind. Where visually it looks like a square, but leaving things as spaces means everybody is 6 spaces away. Yeah, it gets a little bit weird. Like if I change this to, I think I could change it to hexes. Hexes fixes it. Hexes are better. Like hexes just flat better. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like hexes fix everything. Yep, that's right, man. That's right, Edward. What if you could make an ice pyramid? Would that be too fiddly to work? Um, so right now, I just sort of arbitrarily picked. What did I pick? I picked 4 spaces, 3 spaces, 4 contiguous spaces. Like maybe the right answer is 6. Maybe it's upcast 1 upcast plus 1 space plus 1 d6. Like maybe something like that. Hey Evan, how about that ability on 216 for inspiration, like a re-trigger that you can throw enemies on the spikes? Two, 1, 6. Um, maybe, maybe. Like having spikes there that like the commander can push people onto, and the wind spells you can move people to. Like that's a really cool thing. It makes movement matter. So I really like that. I think we are gonna do ice spikes. Like I've sort of decided crystalline shards. Like yeah, that was a little bit too fiddly. So I like the idea of ice spikes. Making terrain more interesting is fun, but how do we do that? How do we do that? Like maybe we just, all right, so what does it look like if we just have 6 contiguous spaces? Let's go back to squares because most people do use squares if they're using anything. Oh, yeah, that's cool. All right, so here's our mage, and we have a goblin that is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So a goblin that's 4 spaces away, a goblin that's 5 spaces away, and one that is 6 spaces away. So let's start with 3. Let's start with 3 spaces. 3 ice spikes. All right, so we can conjure 3 ice spikes. This goblin, can he make it? He can make it if he just goes and steps on the spikes, but what kind of self-respecting goblin would do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes it take 1 more space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he can make it. This guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This guy can't make it. Okay, so 3 spikes could help. If it was 5, so I think it does have to be an odd number, oddly enough. What if it was 5? Because if it was 4, I don't want to draw that. I want to draw. If it was 4, like he would just go this way. So I think 5 instead of 6. Okay, so 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that guy could, so yeah, that adds 2 of movement. What if they get restrained or crit if they are shoved to spike the force movement? I think just the damage alone is enough. Like, it doesn't need to be an additional thing. Like, you shove and then, like, yeah, they just take an additional like 2d6 or 3d6 or like whatever d6 damage. Like that. That's pretty cool. And yeah, I like ice spikes. So I think the correct answer is 5 because it's an odd number. Maybe 6 because, like, what if we're in a hallway or something? Like, what if you're in a dungeon and say there's like a hallway. Hallway's usually like 2 squares wide, right? And you can just like put a bunch of ice. You put ice spikes here, and you just have like one awkward ice spike here. Let's start with 5. Okay. So if this is going to be a tier 4 spell, it's going to be 2 actions because it doesn't deal damage immediately. Oh, you know what? What if I'm just a dumb mage? What if, guys? What if we put the ice spikes like here? What if we did like this? Like, what if we just trapped the goblins inside the ice spikes? Is that not a better use of our ice spikeage? So he could just run right through. Or what if he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if there were invisible ice spikes. I feel like we're really close to a great idea, but like not quite there yet. I like the idea. So I like the idea of like creating cool terrain. Maybe 5 isn't enough. And it needs to be like some non-negligible amount of area. Let's go to a new map. Ooh, that's a big boy. So like on this one, like you could do ice spikes. Like you could just like do this, but then like you're spending like 4 mana just for him to cross over once, and then like he's over. Like you could like block areas. What do you guys think? I don't know. I feel like we're really close to a good idea. Yeah, we need a way around the obvious trap problem. Yep. And the way around it could just be like shoving, force movement, this kind of stuff. You could just summon the ice spikes underneath someone to like deal the damage automatically. So like the smartest place to put ice spikes for this guy would be like here, and like 2 under him. So he's bigger, so he's on 2 different ice spikes. So you take, let's say, 2d6 damage per thing, right? So that's 4. Yeah, let's just summon ice spike underneath every square that he's in. All right, so he's taking. Okay, maybe that's it. Like you just summon the ice spikes under him, and they stay there. And it's difficult terrain, so So 1, 2, he's still moving here. So he takes 4, 5, 6. So he takes 6. So he take 12d6 damage. Oof. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So he take 12d6 damage because so he moves like this way, and he's still on these 2 ice spikes. So 12d6 damage. And then it's still there. You can always like, yeah, that kind of thing. You check 3, 3, 2 for another idea. Okay. Oh, not there. 3, 3, 2. That's a cool spell. Weaver's Wall. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. Blocks them, yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you can surf on the wall. That might be a so like lightning already has stuff like that where you can like chain lightning to you teleport like you basically ride on the wall. You teleport certain distance away, and then you like damage people along the way. So lightning is more the movement. Ice is more of the other thing. So ice spikes dealing 2d6 damage per space that a creature is in. Like, why not just summon the ice spikes right underneath them? That's pretty good. And then they stay there as long as you maintain concentration. 12d6 damage is nothing to sneeze at. Like, the bigger the creature, like the more damage it'll do. $12d6. Yeah. Ooh, maybe it's too good. Maybe it's too good against big creatures. Because if they don't impede movement, if they just damage, then you can shove, and like shove someone across multiple spikes, and now you're cooking. I kind of like this. I like where we're going. All right, so we're facing this guy. We could like try to block him and stuff, but then he would take 2d6 and then 2d6, and then he's done. But if we just summon the spikes right under him, then he's gonna take 4, 6, 12. He's gonna take 12d6 damage, and then yeah. So for these kinds of things, you have to visualize it, because like 3 squares would be enough, 6 squares would be enough. Like, no, like it doesn't actually, like the little guys can still just get to you. And let's say we had a little guy. Let's say we had where's the goblin? I'll just get this little thing. Say we had one of these, and we put the ice spikes thusly, right? So 6 of them. So spike. So he would get 2 spikes. Or if he was like in a narrow corridor, you could like get it a little bit better. Is this alterations to Icebound Ore? So okay, yeah. So what we did so far is we moved some things around. Frost Shield is now down from tier 2 to tier 1. Glacier Strike is up to tier 7 and stronger. Frost Nova is up to tier 5 and stronger. No, Glacier Strike hasn't moved, I think. Glacial Shard was moved up to tier 2, I think. We moved things around is the point. We added Cryo Sleep instead of... we added Cryo Sleep and moved Frost Nova up. I do remember that. Cryo Sleep seems pretty fun. And then now we're adding something between Cryo Sleep and Frost Nova, this Icy Spikes. And I'm pretty sure Icy Spikes is not going to be the name of it, just in case you were wondering. Icy Spikes. If you guys have any better names, feel free to throw them out. Reach 12. Impale, yeah. Impale is a good word. Conjure, and this is going to be concentration. Copy. Concentration up to 1 minute. Upcast. It's going to be +2 spaces. I don't think it can deal more damage because like if it's a big creature, like it gets exponential. Not exponential. It gets cube. The damage is cubed. I don't know. The damage is more. Conjure, razor sharp, icy spikes within 6. How do we phrase it? How do we say it? How do we say it? In a conjure razor sharp icy spikes in 5 contiguous spaces within range. This area is difficult terrain. I don't think this area needs to be difficult terrain. Creatures who pass. Well, if it's difficult terrain, then yeah, it does combo better with other things. So ice spikes probably should be 3 actions because it can deal a lot of damage and at range. This area is difficult terrain, and creatures who pass through any creatures pass through any space creatures suffer 2d6 damage for each of these spaces they touch. There you go. Touch might be like, we'll fix it. It's like pass through doesn't make sense because what if they enter and then exit the same way, you know? For each of these spaces they touch is showing that like if it's a larger, like you're touching more of the spaces, right? So for a tier 4 spell, is that too good for a tier 4 spell? Pyroclasm 6d10 versus 12d6. 6d10. 33. 12d6. 42. Yeah, 2d6 might be too much. Like if we're fighting a gargantuan creature, I think it'd deal too much damage. So what was it? 6 spaces? 5 spaces. So yeah, that'd be 10 d12. 5 spaces might be enough. So like what if we didn't like double count? So like this guy when he was smaller, let's say he was this big, I double counted it. So like so he's touching 4 spaces. He's not entering any new spaces, right? I think that might be the most intuitive way to do it. So we'll have to clarify how it works. There's difficult terrain and creatures suffer. Creatures creatures in the area when you conjure them suffer 2d6 damage for each space they touch. Creatures that enter these spaces or who are in the area when you conjure them. There you go. So we're clarifying that you can conjure them under a creature. Conjure Razor Sharp spikes 5 contiguous spaces within range. This area is difficult terrain, and creatures that enter this area is difficult terrain. Excuse me. Conjure. Okay. Conjure razor sharp icy spikes in 5 contiguous spaces within range. This area is difficult terrain. Creatures, there we go. Fix this. Creatures that enter these spaces or who are in the area when you conjure them. I feel like that should be that is a parenthetical. I love parentheses, guys. I love parentheses. Suffer 2d6 damage for each space they touch. That's a fun spell. I like that. I like that a lot. Way better than Icebound Aura. Way better than Icebound Aura. That's cool. You guys tell me, are there any spells that you just think like, I know, I use parentheses too much against that. Are there any spells that you're like, I don't think I'd ever cast that? Maybe Enchant Weapon. A weapon you touch is enchanted with magical flame for 1 minute. It deals plus key damage and inflicts smoldering on crit. Actually, that's pretty good. If you chant your rogues daggers, it'd be a pretty good combo, and or like a Zephyr, or like a barbarian berserker. Yeah, that's what got us on this. I have it right here, as a matter of fact. So that's what got us on this. So let's keep going through his feedback. Stun, there's no stun condition. Yeah, I'll fix that. Slowed is a state. Yeah, I need to fix that. We're making him into make a condition. Minus 10 move speed. Yeah, that's good. It is also a unique condition. Yeah, I need to clarify some of these things. Edward, it's your birthday? Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. 2 hours to go. 2 hours left on your birthday? Or 2 hours until your birthday? Depends on what time zone you're in. Oh, your birthday is the 18th. Oh, you're Pacific? Well, I'm enjoying your birthday here. Monday's a good day. Yep. Devil Train. I think it's mentioned elsewhere, but maybe it isn't. Cowardly. Yeah, targets versus creatures, spells used by. Yeah, so a lot of this is like consistency things, and I'll fix that, but I don't have the mind to fix that right now. Specific fixes: concentration, enchant weapon doesn't work on unarmed strikes. Correct. It is enchant weapon. Yep. Flame barrier. I think a lot of these things have been fixed already. Pyroclasm. I've gone about removing and reducing all of the bolding and stuff, so I'm not worried about that too much. Fire Embrace harms allies with no control, removes resistance. Oh, something I did do. I added while nobody was looking. Someone had the suggestion to add precise casting. +1 mana, or 1 plus mana. Choose one creature to be unaffected by a spell you cast per mana spent. I think that. So your spell shaper, you can shape your spells. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, and that was a good idea. Basically, like there was no goal of like, oh, we need to have this many spell shaper abilities. It was just sort of like, what are the different things you might want to do with your spells? And then once we thought of all the once we had all the sorts of things we had, then we stopped. So I did that. I think I might have tweaked some other things, but like once I don't remember. Dragon form. There's no clarification what a cone is. I added that. Ice lance, cold damage in high level is extraneous. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. Ice lance. Yeah, I think we fixed that. Can I? Oh, I can't. I can't. Curious about rebuke / undead shenanigans. Oh yeah. Let me show you that. With the shepherd, that was the other thing. That was one of the other things I fixed. Shepherd now, searing light. Inflict will d8 radiant damage to an undead or bloodied enemy. So you can just blast. You just blast undead, even if they're not bloodied, and it's radiant damage now, which makes sense. I don't know why it was necrotic. Yeah. Yep. So we added that, and I think that's cool. Yeah, you can use that to just blast undead. Like it's nice to have like the one class that can like do that sort of thing. Let's go back to here. Frost shield, biting fog, opaque means you can't see through it. So creatures inside also have full cover, unless as they are fully obscured. Per these rules, it's very powerful. I had a small feedback on Withering Touch. The phrase considered undead has caused confusion at my table. 2 times the same player. Granted, I'm running Club for Teenagers. I think I might have tweaked Withering Touch. I didn't. What confusion has it caused? Like that? Oh, ooh, I missed some stuff. For sure, Blue said he'll do another one on the next version since they changed so much. Ooh, the person will be happy. Curious, I had a question about electric or int saves. How many int save spells are there, and how many monsters care about int saves? So monsters basically, I think monsters are like, it's just gonna be strength, dex, and mental. Like I don't know. I'm thinking about that, but I think monsters just simplify. Monsters just have will saves, and you'll just roll the mental. Mental is the will save. It's a little bit asymmetrical, but it's easier to do that than to have like bloated stat blocks. You know, like is this monster smart? Yeah, he has advantage on those saves. How many monsters care about it saves? You mean how many monsters make the players make int saves? I'd have to check. Yeah. I always thought it would just been undead was a condition like smoldering. It just has a cool interaction with some of the radiant spells, or like a radiant spell rebuke. Rebuke does twice as much damage against undead, like zombies and mummies and skeletons and that kind of stuff. Just a cool flavor thing. So you can withering touch and then blast them with rebuke. That's all. That's all it is. Just cool little interactions and combos you can set up. I mean, how many monsters resist or are weak to int saves? As far as like regular monsters, most regular monsters just don't have anything, and you can sort of do whatever makes sense. So like for like Pudge the Blunderer, he is a solo dumb ogre. He has advantage on his strength saves and disadvantage on his will saves or int saves. Like maybe I could just go ahead and put like int / will, but it takes up more space. So I don't know. Yeah, you just roll a d20 for most cases. Gotta test the Berserker's new lowered Fury dice tonight. Unfortunately, the cap didn't matter since they're level 3 and have 3 strength, so I wasn't really able to test it all out. The damage felt okay, but they definitely were very hesitant to spend their Fury dice for such little temp HP. Only 4 at level 3 is not much. Since every point gained was a big deal, once he got higher numbers, he didn't want to lose them. How often was he raging? So he's level 3. Let's go to the books. All right, so by level 3, if you're raging beginning turn, you roll 1 for your die for free. Okay, so turn 1, you rage. You get 2 on your fury since it's a d4 now. You'll get a 2, 2.5. At the beginning of your second turn, you roll again. Let's say you get a 3 because we're averaging it 2.5, and then you can just rage again to get your third fury die. So you rage on your turn. So you have all 3. You have 3 fury dice. You start smacking dudes. At the start of your next turn, so you attack 2 times, and then at the end of your turn, you get all 3 actions back. You have 3 actions, and you have all 3 fury dice. You're capped out if you min-maxed. You're capped out with your fury dice. We'll hold the fury dice. So we've got all 3 beautiful fury dice. Oh, it's 2, 3, 2 on this side and 2, 3, 2 on that side. So during your turn, or while it's not your turn, say like one of these is like a 1. Yeah, let's say you got like a 4 and a 1 and a 2. Let's say you got a 4 and a 1 and a 2. So let's say like that's pretty average. I'm trying to hold them up and I can't. All right. There you go. All right. So we got a 4, a 1, 2, and a 4. A monster attacks you for say like 10 damage. You could just take the damage. You take 10 damage, or you could expend this 1 that's only doing 1 damage. It's not doing much for you because at the start of your next turn, you're gonna roll a fury die for free, and you're already at a cap, right? So it's not really gonna help you. So I'm gonna save myself that 4 damage, right? So I only take 6 damage. So I gave myself 4 hit points for free. All right. Start of my next turn, I'll roll again. Maybe get another 1. So like once you're at the cap, you're incentivized to use it because you're like, there's a chance you'll make one of them higher, right? But you're incentivized to spend them. So is that how he's using it? Or he could, if he gets attacked, if he gets attacked for a lot, he can spend 2 of his fury dice to avoid 8 damage. He only takes 2 damage. He's still pumped up. At the beginning of his turn, he rolls his second one, and he rages again, and he has all 3 fury dice again. So he can spend 2 fury dice like every turn, you know? That seems pretty good. If it was any stronger, it would probably be too strong. No, 4 temp HP is not nothing. 4 temp HP per fury die at level 3 is like, that's a substantial amount. Yeah, that's a substantial amount. And if he picked, I assume he picked Path of the Red Mist, so he's going to be able to max out his fury dice pretty easily. So like it's not really a big deal for him to like spend his fury dice, like even if it's like a 2 or a 3, because like it doesn't matter what I roll. At the start of my turn, I'll get a new one, and then I'll just max it out like when I kill something, you know. So I don't know. Is he raging additionally enough? At level 3, they're frequently getting hit for over 16 points of damage. Yeah, but if you're able to like instead of taking 16, you take 8. That's like your hit point maximum increased by 8. You know. And it doesn't cost any actions. You're doing this for free. You're defending 8 damage for free. Yeah, he never used the rage ability. Yeah, so if you're not using the rage ability, then yeah, you're going to be more constrained on Fury Dice, and that's a choice. He's a new player, doesn't understand. Yeah, yeah. I get it. And like as you keep playing, you say like, oh, I'm gonna get a new die anyway. Might as well spend it. So I think it's in a good spot. If instead he chose Path of the Mountain Heart, whenever you spend Fury dice to gain temp HP, add the value of the die total. So on average, you're gonna be adding like 2 or 3 to it. So for every Fury die, so instead of blocking 8 damage, he's gonna be blocking 8 + 5. He's gonna be blocking like 12 damage or 13 damage. So I think it's in a good spot mechanically. And if it takes him, if he plays suboptimally, like that's fine. Like that's fine. Like I have like half the people at my table will play suboptimally. Sometimes on purpose. Sometimes they just don't know what their things do. Like when I'm play testing myself, I will play suboptimally because I don't know all the best ways to do things. But as you get better, as you get more experience, you sort of figure some of these things out. I try to relate. I don't think it comes through in the design. I'm just framing my feedback. Yeah, maybe the design needs to be clarified a little bit. But I did add. I did tweak this in that I didn't mention that. Yes, you can rage and gain another fury die even if you're already raging. If you are already at your max, roll as normal and decide which ones to keep. So I tweaked the wording there a little bit. Um, but also like once you start getting low on hit points, like you want to spin your fury dice because you're going to lose all of them like once you hit 0. So like say I've got all 3 fury dice, and I've got like 2 hit points left. I get hit for 10. Like I can either take 10 and drop to 0 and lose all 3 of them, or I can just spend all 3, not take any damage, and then like I have more actions at start my turn. I can just get one of them back. I can get 2 of them back if I so like the lower you get on your hit points, the more willing you'd want to be to spin your fury dice on them. Yeah, I think it's an okay spot. It could, to be fair, so your criticism is noted that if like we could explain it a little bit better. If you have any ideas on how to clarify the mechanics based upon your experience with that person, then feel free to offer that. I think that what I'm saying is the numbers are in the right neighborhood. We're not far off. If we're off, it's by like minuscule amounts. That said, could we explain it more tightly? I think we might be able to. I was excited player tested Fangclaw Stormshifter last session. He played it ultra suboptimally. I gave him advice in private after the session on cool ideas on what to do with the class potential. Yeah, Stormshifter is one of the most complex classes. So hey, Double King, good to see you, Matt. So I did add these little complexity things. Stormshifter has 3, 3 out of 3. Berserker is 2 out of 3 because there are some of these interesting things. Actually, let me ask you guys this. Since we're here. What did I do? Let me ask you guys this. Do you think the complexity that I have listed here is accurate? Is the complexity of 1 to 3 enough, or do we need like 1 to 5 to? I talked to him too, but he literally just doesn't understand the concepts of how rage, etc., is supposed to work. None of my new players understand temp HP very well. That's interesting. That's interesting. Temp HP isn't a 4 temp HP isn't a lot, no matter what everyone is saying. When you take 15 damage from a single enemy, 4 temp HP is nothing. I don't know. We might have to agree to disagree on that one. If we go over to hit points, where is it? So let's go over to hit points. So your berserker should have like 34 hit points. And if he spends over the course of 4, like say it's a 4-round combat, if he spends like 1 fury die per round, 4 times 4, that's like he's increasing his hit point pool by 16, right? So it's and like some not every attack is 15 damage. Like some attacks are like 6 damage. Like reducing damage for free, um, like it adds up. It definitely adds up. But your player can play however he wants to. I'd love 1 to 5. Yeah. Class complexities. Okay, let's go back to class complexities. So out of all of the classes, which is the simplest? So there has to be a 1. It's always better to keep the damage dice. Yes, it's frequently better to keep the damage dice and deal more damage. But if you're going to just roll another one anyway and just waste one of them, why not just spend it to save 4 hit points for free every single round? Like you can do that for free every single round once you're at the maximum. So we might have to agree to disagree on that. I think the numbers are in the right spot. If you can think of a way to better communicate the intricacies, then I'd certainly be open to it. But I think the numbers are in a good spot for that. 1 to 5 would give Nimble room to grow for all the splat. You would have played it similarly? That's interesting. That's interesting. Cheat might be 2-star complexity. Okay, which is the simplest? Hey, Critical Pixel. Personally, I think Zephyr might be one. So Zephyr has been updated a bit to use wounds as a bit of a resource. So they did get some more interesting, cool options. So first of all, you have a resource to track bursts of speed, which the name might change. Like when are you going to use these? Am I going to use it to attack? So you have a resource. It's not as complex as mana or spells and stuff, but you have a resource. And then you also have with your subclasses, you have these abilities to where you can like make choices when you're attacked. You can gain wounds to do different things. So it's not dead. It's easier than some classes, but it's not dead simple. All the cheat does is crit. It wants to crit and then run away. Crit and run away. The cheat makes one big attack. There's not a lot of fuss about the cheat. So Shepherd is the simplest? Interesting. So Shepherd has mana, 2 spell schools, and a companion. Shepherd is the simplest. What do I have the Shepherd at? I have the Shepherd at medium. Yeah, so it's medium. So to me, Berserker is 2 out of 3, like a medium. Cheat is the only like easy, like simple class. Commander's medium because it has lots of like combat dice and orders to do when to use them. Yeah, cheat is the simplest. I think cheat is the simplest. No resources, nothing fancy. Like it does cool stuff, but it's not super complex. Hunter with their throw the hunt charges is medium. Mage with spell shaper and mana and 3 spell schools is fairly complex. Oathsworn, they want to smack and they want to interpose, but they do have judgment dice, so it's like medium. Zephyr is medium, I think. Songweaver is like they get 2 spell schools and mana, and they have these like when do I debuff, when do I buff, when do I use my inspiration things. Showmancer is probably complex with all of the minions and things. Like it has mana, like weird mana. Shadowmancer is the most complex, perhaps. Something asking a survey down the line, yeah. I don't know if there's enough granularity for 1 to 5. Like which one, like which one is like major Shadowmancer like 4, and which one is 3? I think store subclass are most complex if you count them. Yeah, they're down here. They all have 3. I just say class complexity 3, and maybe I should say subclass complexity. So I feel like they're in the rightish spot. I think the Beastmaster makes the Hunter easier. Oh, interesting. Perhaps. Certainly different, at least. All right, let's see if there's anything else in this document. Yeah, we dealt with that. Electrickery. Unwillingly. Okay, what do we say about unwillingly? Was it electrickery? Electrickery. Unwilling? Unerringly? Oh yeah, so we remove unerringly and those kinds of things for we just added a note up here for AoE spells. Do not miss, and 1 damage roll is applied to all targets. Oh, question. Sorry, Emma. Question. After I cough. I don't remember if it was ever added to the doc. Should the small flavor text and the solo monsters, feeling unspicy, be removed or moved somewhere else? The small gray description has a creature size type, maybe, which might have mechanical implications. Huge undead. While I don't know that the demon is feeling hot and spicy will affect fighting as well. Yeah. Yeah, I'll think about it. The concept of the shepherd is easy to get, and its combos present itself without effort or test discovery. Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps. Right. Arc Lightning, PvP spell, connects to kill allies with no control. Yeah, just don't cast it when ally is nearby. I think that's fine. 2 creatures within 90 feet swap places on a failed end save. Okay, let's check that out. Maybe that is better. Switch the places of one willing creature and another creature in range. Yeah, I don't want to... Switch the places of 2 creatures within range on a failed will save. So, like, do they have to both fail? No, I want this to be clear that you're switching an ally with an enemy. I want to narrow it down, I think. I don't think I want to have 2 enemies swap. I don't think I want to have 2 enemies swap because then it's 2 will saves. And it's half as likely to succeed. Ride the lightning, there's no stun condition, there's no deafen condition. Ride the lightning. Which is deafened, they can't hear. Like it has story implications. That's what deafened means. Push your scale. You and 2 allies. Okay, so that yes, this is the plural you. So this is ranged attacks have disadvantage against y'all. So like you all. Ranged attacks have disadvantage against affected creatures. Or if we did this, you and up to 12 allies gain a flying speed of 12 can move for free once each round, and range attacks have a disadvantage against you. There we go. That's better. That's better. Cowardly is here since it can miss. Rebuke. Let's go to rebuke. Since it can miss, it has disadvantage against those it specifically wants to target. Hmm? Why would it have disadvantage? What if we did that? 1d6, ignores armor, does not miss. 2x damage against undead or cowardly. That's my cover. But then, yeah, at high levels, that would probably be too good. I don't think we can have a does not miss because we're adding. Oh no, because we are adding. Because I was thinking we're adding flat modifiers rather than dice, but this one because because it ignores armor, we don't care. We can add dice rather than a flat modifier. Yeah, I think that might work. Does not miss. Hey, Josh. I think I figured out a way to word this more prettily, so I'm going to try. Okay. Just know how frustrated my player was with experience. Yeah, I definitely don't want to frustrate them, and I appreciate you advocating for them. So yeah. It isn't so much that 14 HP isn't enough mechanically. It's more so that it doesn't feel like enough. I didn't do a great job really. Okay, gotcha. The numbers will work out on the back end, but to the player, the feedback I'm providing is that it doesn't feel like enough to make it worth it. Worth it to scrap a die? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, how if the problem is it is mechanically balanced but confusing, well, we can clarify. Mechanically balanced but unfun. Well, I don't know what to do about that. Like, because it's so easy to spend and end up with less HP. I mean, I would also argue it isn't mechanically balanced, especially as they level up. Oh, really? That's interesting. That's interesting. Do you mean it's not enough as they level up? You end up with like 8 10 HP generated on Fury Dice as you level. All right, maybe. Let's see. Let's see what happens as you level up. So the numbers crunching that I did for the tweaks to Fury Dice was only on the damage output. So yeah, I mean, you might be right. So if it feels like it's not enough, I think the cap is a good thing. What if, I guess the main thought would be, why waste time healing up when killing the source of damage faster means losing SP? So the thing is, like, if you have a cap of 3 Fury Dice, and you're going to gain 1 anyway, and you're just going to waste 1, why not spend it to gain temp HP? Right? That feels like an obvious mechanical, like, that feels like an obvious thing to do. It isn't always you can roll it and replace one. Yeah, you can upgrade it. You have the chance to deal like 1 more damage on average, right? Right. But like if you have a 1, like you're literally like it literally is a waste if you don't use it. If you have a 1 or a 2, it quite literally is a waste because you're guaranteed to get at least a 1 at the start of your next turn, right? And you might get a 4 or a 3. So, so at higher levels, what if Intensifying Fury gave you 2 Fury dice at the beginning of your turn? So you're incentivized to spend 2 at a time at least. Like you'll get to your cap quicker. What if Intensifying Fury gave you 2 Fury dice, or like Rage? Whenever you raged, you gain 2 Fury dice. Like that kind of thing might be interesting too. Like you're able to get to the cap quicker, and you're also incentivized to spend 2 Fury dice at a time because like just get rid of your 2 lowest and like kick them out of here because you're gonna roll again, and on average you're gonna get the average. So if you roll anything below average, those are the ones I'm burning to turn into HP. You know, that might be good to have at that might be good. Yeah, but you dump your lowest die and roll the next turn. Yeah, exactly. You dump your lowest die and you roll the next turn, which is the same as rolling and replacing the lowest. Getting 2 HP out of it is a better move. It is. But yeah, to be fair, Double King, Josh is saying that it doesn't look like the better move, it doesn't feel like the better move, even though it is. I understand that player never felt like that was a good move and he wanted to keep the Fury Dice for opportunity attacks. I mean that's his option. Yeah, healing up in that case means losing temp HP. I don't know. Maybe that's just not the right class for him. Like, it's a pretty straightforward class. I mean, if there's a way we can communicate it better or more clearly, I'm open to that. Temp HP is very confusing to the players. That's interesting. Situation evidence describes exactly how the berserker went at my table. They sacked low dice for temp HP for sure. Sometimes they had to sack higher one unwillingly, but they will take. Yeah. So Bruno, you have a berserker table? Did the person who was playing berserker like Bruno, has anybody at your table had a hard time understanding like temp HP or doing things? Yeah. Yeah, and I get that different tables have different like just play differently. That's cool. But if we can make it better for Josh and people like that, people at his table, like let's do that. Like if people at Bruno's table, um, if they played 5e temp HP is much easier to understand. If it's not a very foreign concept. So is the problem then in the core rules where we talk about what temp HP is? Some of those effects may grant temp HP. These are reduced first when taking damage. It's hit points, but they're temporary. One did, but he got it after explaining the part that they don't stack confused him. That the part that temp HP doesn't stack confused him? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The problem is, in this case, temp HP isn't used in that way. It's immediately gone, so it doesn't track the same way for the player. Okay, so if the problem is with temp HP, Josh, what if they never get the pull? That's true. So yes, that does make sense. That does make sense because that you got says when you are attacked, you may expend one or more Fury dice and gain that many temp HP for each. So would it make more sense if it was reduce damage from that attack by that much instead of going in the circuitous route toward temp HP. That would be a slight nerf because you attack for 3 and you gain 4 temp HP. Like you would have 1 left normally, right? Yeah. So that would be a bit of a nerf. All right, so let's take a look at scaling. So at high level, say like let's say level 20. You'll have like 5, 6 strengths or key or whatever. So your max is 5 or 6. So at low levels, you'll be able to rage, intensifying fury, and rage again. Like you're like on your first turn or second turn, you're at your max. So maybe at level 10, we should say, whenever you rage, gain 2 fury dice. That would fix the scaling. Because at low levels, your max is like 2 or 3. At high levels, it's like twice that. It's like 6-ish. That would fix the scaling. I mean, scaling temp HP value. Yeah, so the temp HP scales with your strength and dex. So every 4 levels. So it does scale. But the problem is that the number of fury dice you have, how quickly you can generate fury dice, doesn't scale with a cap. So when you're attacked, you may expend 1 or more fury dice and reduce the damage by your strength plus dex for each. It's a bit of a nerf. But if we just give you more fury dice, then that's fine. It's less to track. It's simpler. It's a lot more straightforward. It's a little bit of a nerf, but we can, if we take that away, if we take away just a little bit of the utility in exchange for clarity, then we can give like survivability in some other way. That might work. Level 20 when monsters are doing 53 per round. Let's go to the game guide. Okay, so at level 20, so that's if you have like 5 level 20 dudes, and they're facing 5 level 20 monsters, they'll be doing 54 damage. Very likely that that's like, yeah, that can be the case. So yes, they're dealing more damage. So strength plus dex at level 20. What's strength plus dex going to be at level 20? 3. So it would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It'll be like 10. You'll have like 10. Your 2 key is going to be 10. So each fury die is going to block 10 damage. And then if you're going the more DPS route, then like you're going to be able to do more DPS. But if you go Mountain Heart, it's every fury die is going to on average block 16 damage or more. Hey Edward, see ya. I was just using when they hit their stat cap at the math area. Mountain Heart is fine. Okay, I don't think there's okay. The buff of giving fury die. The buff of giving more fury dice is stronger than the nerf they're getting, though. Even if you spend like all your so the thing about berserkers is they have a D12 hit die. So they have the biggest hit point pool out of everybody. Yeah. So they have the biggest, so they can afford to take just a bunch of damage. No, I'm not arguing. I'm just sort of thinking out loud. So they can afford to take they can afford to take more damage than anybody else. They don't have they don't have armor, so they don't really defend, but they have these Fury dice that they can use to, and they can generate the Fury dice automatically, or they can spend their actions to generate them more quickly. That feels good. So I think like All right, let's see what it looks like. When you're attacked, you may expend one or more Fury dice to reduce the damage taken by Strength plus Dex for each die spent. That's easier to understand. That's so that's easier to understand. When you're attacked, expend one of our Fury dice to reduce the damage taken by your Strength plus Dex. Oh, I remove temp HP. We don't no more temp HP for each die spent. So you can just do that. Twin Steel's facing at level 9. I think those things were addressed in the latest round of changes. Berserker can hoard dice because they have high HP. So this is a slight nerf in terms of utility and flexibility, but it is definitely a buff in terms of clarity. With the answer, we always get to enemies miss less and not needing to change damage values when converting monster 5e is that they have defense. The Berserker doesn't get that. They have to rely on mitigation to do that, and I don't think the mitigation keeps up with other classes. For instance, every round my Oathsworn and the Shepherd can block 12 damage without any other issue than an action. Yeah, and the Berserker can block 8. Berserker can block 8. The Oathsworn can block. So the Oathsworn and what was it? Oathsworn and Shepherd can block 12. The Berserker can block what 75% of that? 2/3 of that? Can block 2/3 of that by spending 2 Fury dice. You get one back for free, and you can rage. So for one action, they can block similar amounts, but the Berserker has a higher hit point pool to begin with, and can do other. So it has flexibility. They don't have to block it. They can go all damage while they need to, and then once they start taking damage, they can use those more aggressively. 8 with more hit points. What is the hit points between them? 30. So 5 more hit points between them on average. Yeah, and it does scale with level. So it's gonna be like 20, like closer to 20 hit points. Well, the Shepherd, does the Shepherd have what is the Shepherd? Is the Shepherd D10 or D8? D10. Okay, yeah, they're both D10. There's a lot of damage coming to characters early on. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point. But so Berserkers, they not only have a higher hit point maximum, but they can recover on average more hit points with their hit dice after combat. So Josh, to bring it back to make it more constructive, I feel like I'm crazy town because I've experienced this in all my games. Yeah. So it might, after combat doesn't really matter. So it might be a matter of clarifying the combat encounter guidelines. So not every combat needs to be, and I've got questions, but like, are you making the encounters? Are you running them as written in 5e using 5e monsters? So there are There have been some new there's some new common encounter guidelines here that I know haven't been released yet. You're making encounters. So are you making are you so like you said they're level 3, so do you have 3 monster levels worth of challenge per player? Is it like you're making all of your encounters even? And if you just wanna chat, you can here. Uh, you can just talk if you want to. Um, making them using okay. Okay. So um, okay. So there are new common encounter guidelines that I have added to the GM guide that are not in they're not in the in the earlier versions, I don't think. Um, so monster levels, making encounters in Nimble is easy. Simply add up the total levels of the heroes, e.g., if you have 3 level 2 heroes, their total is 6. Monsters with a total level equal to that will be a challenging but fair fight. Less than that, easy, and more than that, hard or deadly. Okay, there's an example there. Typical encounters should have between 1 to 3 monsters per hero, excluding minions. For an epic fight against a single monster, use a legendary monster. And if you want hordes of monsters, use minions. Important note, if the heroes or monsters greatly outnumber one another, the encounter may be easier or harder than anticipated. What's an easy encounter? If the monster level is less than the heroes. Heroes will lose some hit points, but shouldn't drop to 0. Minimal resources may be spent. Easy encounters are important as they provide the context with which players can gauge their progress. Go ahead and make your players feel strong every once in a while, especially right after they level up. Ideal for testing new abilities, tactics, or whittling down party resources. Use 1 to 3 easy encounters per session. Hey, Double King, you missed it. So easy encounters, challenging, where the monster levels equal the heroes. This encounter should feel fair but challenging. Heroes will need to expend a good amount of resources. Some may drop to 0 hit points, but none should die. Barring exceptionally bad luck or tactics, typically 1 challenging encounter per session. Hey, Josh.
Hey, sorry, I just got here. Okay. So yeah, no, I've been designing it with the last one was they were level 3, so 5 characters, so 5 level 3 monsters and 5 minions. And that was it. Because
Okay.
it says in there that one set of minion per character shouldn't adversely affect the math, and
Yep.
it feels like having minions there is good to kind of let characters like the Oathsworn build judgment dice, stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay. So
So yeah.
how many encounters like that do you have in a session?
In this case, it was just this one encounter, and they'll have a chance to long rest after because that's the way the adventure is set up. I'm
Okay.
running from a pre-published adventure, so I'm a little bit more limited in
Okay.
my
Okay.
stuff there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So I was reading through the common encounter guidelines. So this is new since the previous the published
yeah,
version
I
of.
wasn't on it for it when you started into that. Sorry,
Okay,
I was
so
switching
no, that's
computers.
fine.
So
When the monster level equals the heroes, that's a
mhm.
challenging encounter. So it should feel
Okay,
fair but challenging. Heroes will need to
okay,
expend a good amount of resources. Some may drop to 0 hit points, but none should die, barring exceptionally bad luck
yeah,
or tactics. Typically one per session, right? So,
yeah. So that's
like,
about what it was. Then yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, so that would probably be like 5 monsters and 5 minions, would probably be just a little bit, like, slightly more challenging. So adding minions does make it more difficult, but, like, not noticeably so, typically, right? So most mi
is that still in there? Because
yeah,
there was a thing in the encounters that said,
yep.
if adding one minion per character shouldn't cause any difference in the math.
Right,
So
right,
that's why I
right.
was
Yeah,
making
so
sure.
that's like that's the next section. So, so
Got it.
the guidance that I have, so like a normal encounter in 5e is like really like substantially easy usually.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like hard encounters normal. So like 5e is just like their words are a little bit loose. So like easy is whenever the
Mhm.
monster levels is less than the heroes,
Yeah.
right? So they'll still take damage, they'll use some resources, but, like, nobody's dropping to 0, like, they're taking, like
Mhm.
that's what that is. Uh, hard is, like, the BBEG, like, maybe deadly,
Yeah.
like, hard is, like, maybe once or twice per campaign, like, you'll have a hard one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's a suitable like or like if they're multi-classing or if they're like really tactically minded and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
like
No, I get
the
it. I get that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so there should really be like so it might be that the encounters are slightly overtuned for their skill level. So
Mhm.
if they're not understanding mechanics, if they're not particularly tactically minded, I would I would make it an easier encounter. I would pull back a little bit, and so the guidance on there is balancing with minions.
Mhm.
Um, as you begin designing common encounters, you can lean toward making encounters that are a bit too easy to start, and add minions over the course of the first round or two, if you really want to dial in the difficulty. So for that, your 5 level 3 players and 5 level 3 monsters, I would start there. If they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're winning, this is easy," like, then one of the monsters, like, calls in some minions, like, you can, like, bring it up to where,
If that's
like yeah.
available, yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
if you
great. Yeah.
start that way, yeah, yeah, they're taking some damage, 2 or 3 of them are probably dropping to 0, right? Yeah. So,
Mhm.
the encounters might be slightly overtuned, just a bit. I assume they're winning, right?
Yeah, they didn't TPK on that one. One of them went down.
Okay.
It wasn't the berserker, but one of them went down. They used a lot of their resources, which is expected for a challenging encounter.
Yeah.
That's fine. The one that went down gained, I think, 3 wounds,
Okay.
which is a bit, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I missed on the attack that the one enemy made while they were down, so they got lucky on that front.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it just there's so I feel like there is just like I said, there's a lot of damage going around, whether it's my more experienced group or this group, which is, to be fair, yeah, you're right. It is the absolutely worst scenario where almost everybody there is entirely new to the hobby. So
Mhm.
that is something to consider. Though I would argue that if they're having this much trouble with some of the basic parts, the mechanics of these early level characters, that
Mhm.
might be a concern.
Yeah.
They like I said, I think maybe the changing it to reducing the damage will help there.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
It
that's
makes it more
definitely good
clear.
feedback.
Um,
Uh,
though yeah. Go ahead.
when you said, like, yeah, it's temp HP, but they're never writing it down on their sheet, and they're never using it like temp HP. It's
Yeah.
really just like they're just reducing damage. You're like, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, it's
Yeah.
obvious when you say that. So,
Yeah, so
um,
that may help a lot, because he tends
yeah,
to use it in conjunction actually with defense. Because if he does get rid of the temp HP, which I think he did once in the, like, very first part of the fight. The part of the problem was this fight was split into 2 sessions, so I'm kinda, like, half remembering the part of the fight that
I
was from
see.
before, and then
Okay.
half after. Um, but, I yeah, it's one of those things where again, though, I do I I feel like there's a disconnect a little bit where,
Mhm.
like, you guys expect that it makes sense to spend the temp or the fury dice for the temp HP, but
Mhm.
for damage reduction, whatever. But for the players, and for new players in particular, they want to hold on to those numbers, and even if they know they're going to lose it next round, even if they can understand that concept, which is difficult to understand what that exactly means, when they're even struggling to understand actions and that sort of thing. Like, it's
Sure.
there's a
Sure.
lot going on that they're trying to learn.
Mhm.
Like, it's a bit much,
And you
to
guys
to
start at
expect
level
that.
1?
Yeah. No, they started at level 3. Yeah, that's
Ah,
adventure
okay.
starts at level 3, so I didn't have another choice.
Okay. Okay.
But
That might be part of it. Like starting at level 3 with new players. That is jumping a little bit into the deep end.
I mean, I'll be honest, I've never had a problem with that in normal 5th edition. The fact that this is having problems with it is a red flag, in my opinion. That's
Sure.
just me, though.
Sure.
I have started many, many, many campaigns at level 3 with new players on, running on start playing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I've had a couple of players, of course, where they, took a little bit to understand, but almost intuitively they knew what was going on.
For,
How
like
what?
even for, like,
Oh,
spellcasting classes and, like,
yeah.
choosing spells and all that? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
admittedly, we play at a VTT, so that might have made things easier. This
Okay.
is a home
Yeah.
group that doesn't play at a VTT,
Uh-huh.
so that might make a difference. Though I do have spell cards for them. I've
Uh-huh.
got an action tracker that they have, a little with little sliders and stuff. I need to release the STL for that actually
Uh-huh.
to you guys, but stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I just I don't know. It just it feels like they're even as new players, they're having a much harder time understanding these characters than I've had with normal 5e. That's all.
Hmm. Okay.
And
That's
I
interesting.
there's a lot of like moving bits and keeping track of stuff that doesn't quite make as much sense. Like if Fury Dice was just like a building bar and they could remove it and add to it and stuff, it's a little bit easier to understand than dice that they're pulling out and putting in and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know
Mm,
what it is, but and to be clear, I love the Fury Dice mechanic. I think it's
mhm,
cool. I worry that by especially as they start to get to higher levels, by limiting the pool so excessively from what it was before, at least,
mhm,
they are going to be even less likely to spend to to get temp HP and stuff like that, especially multiple dice because it's going to take them
mm.
multiple rounds to get back to it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's just my fear. But yeah,
So,
I don't
like,
know.
if the cap was, like, 1,000 Fury Dice,
I mean, that's yeah. Go ahead.
just thought experien
Yeah.
if the cap was unlimited, like, at one point it was unlimited.
Mhm.
If the cap was unlimited, every Fury die that you spend is one that you'll never get back, like, it's just permanently
Mhm.
lower, right? But if you have a cap of
Okay.
5, and you're at 5 and you're generating 1 each to, like you can always spend 1 for free. So I think the cap, like, helps to
And I get what
encourage
you
the
guys are saying with
spending
that,
them.
but if that dice is capped, they do
Uh-huh.
not want to spend. If they've gotten to 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 or 12,
Right.
they don't want to spend that die. Like, if they've managed to cap that die out their
Mhm.
dice out, which is very quick for a red mist to do potentially,
Mhm.
then they don't want to spend that because they want to do the damage instead. So they're not spending on damage mitigation, which means that the healers are spending more of their turns healing the berserker than spending time doing their fun stuff. And it gets really like that is one of the healers spent multiple rounds every round healing everybody to keep everybody up because so much damage was being thrown around. Bruno, what
Okay.
is the how question, by the way? I don't understand what you meant there.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're free to, like just like the Oathsworn is like, he's free to never defend if he doesn't want to defend.
Yeah.
You know, like, anytime you defend, like, you're giving up damage to defend. If you spend a Fury die, you're giving up a little bit of damage, but, like, I don't know. I don't so I do see the clarity thing, and I think that does help. I don't
Yeah.
yet see someone not spending it if they're just going to get it right back on their neck. It's like it's defending for free, you know. I don't want to defend for free. No. So
I
maybe
mean,
there's
it's not
just a
quite the same
clarity
because when
thing.
you defend, you reduce the damage by a significantly more amount than 4. Like, I understand what you guys are saying that 4 is
Uh-huh.
mechanically balanced and stuff like that from a perspective, but it doesn't feel like a lot at all. Like 4 damage is nothing when you're saying you're taking 16, 15, 14 damage,
Yeah.
or even, you just took 16 damage. Here's the minions attacking you. Now you're taking another, because I rolled well. Now you're taking another 6 or
Yeah.
whatever,
I I
and then, yeah,
I think there might have been a confluence of slightly, inexperienced players starting at level 3 with a new system, and the counter is, like, maybe a bit overtuned. So, like, any one of those things might not be much, but, like, all 4 of those things might be too much.
yeah. I
Um,
guess there's just also just to speak, just to be totally frank.
mhm, yeah,
I suppose there's a little bit of a frustration that my feedback here is being pushed back against so heavily when other feedback is accepted as being the truth very easily. Um, so it feels like mine's being hit with more of a critical lens than other feedback that is immediately accepted and implemented as being the truth. So it's a
oh, no,
little
like
frustrating there, and I'm not expecting that either,
yeah,
right? Like push back
yeah,
against all of it, right? That's
yeah.
fine, but it does, and that's not just you, by the way, Evan, or anything like that. That's just
Sure,
a
sure,
general
sure. No, like,
statement.
I don't wanna give that
But
impression,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Like, the feedback about, like, temp HP not making sense, like, yeah, immediately. makes sense. Like, yeah, we changed that already, but I don't understand. Like, if he has like all three Fury dice and one of them is a one, he doesn't want to use it for free.
I mean, that might be an easier sell if it was at 1, but he
Okay,
wasn't at 1. He rolled well enough that he wasn't at 1. So,
okay,
like, it's a D4. There's a 25% chance that he's getting a 4 every time he rolls it, right?
yeah,
Like, that's not insignificant. Um, but
yeah,
it felt like there were a lot of factors that were preventing him from wanting to spend that and not
okay,
keep it. And again, I'm sure part of it is his understanding of the mechanics and stuff like that, and
hmm
he'll learn a little bit over time.
yeah.
But yeah,
When are you playing with him next?
Sunday or Sunday after next. So it's a
Okay.
bi-weekly game.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know. Keep an eye on it. I'm noting that, and I'm gonna keep an eye on it because I want to test the
Mhm.
berserker just a little bit
Well, I have
more.
a berserker in my other game too, so
Okay.
we'll see
Yeah.
how that goes.
Let me
That
know.
one doesn't have an oath sworn or a healer to take any of the damage, so it'll
Okay.
be exceptionally bad if like they don't even have anybody to interpose. So
Okay.
really, like somebody who's good at interposing. It's him, a
Yeah.
hunter, and a oath sworn or not oath sworn, sorry, a storm shifter.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and it's sky and storm shifter, so they're not even getting temp HP and stuff like that
Oh,
from
nice.
as
Nice.
much, you know. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, keep
Um,
keep an eye on it. I'm planning on doing some internal testing some more. So
yeah,
I'm definitely noting that. Like now it's
yeah,
a concern that I'm aware of. I didn't even know it was a
yeah,
concern. So
yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
I'll definitely
Yeah.
keep an eye on it. We did just make these changes recently,
We
and like they need to be tested. So I appreciate it.
And to be fair, I did change his, we had ran a round of combat last time, and
Hmm.
when we started up this time, I switched him over to he had 1 fury dice that he had at that point, and I moved him to a D4 instead of the D6 so that we could test it.
Hmm.
So, it was kind of a half thing, but we'll see what
Sure. Sure.
happens.
Okay.
But I don't think that would have made a massive issue there.
Okay.
I switched out for the equivalent of what he had before, so it wasn't a huge issue.
Okay.
But either way, full combat will be a better test, and I'll have that on Tuesday probably. Probably multiple combats actually. They we'll see how it
Okay.
goes.
Cool. Yeah, I would
Cool.
definitely lean if they're while they're new.
Mhm. And that guy's not a new player. He's been playing TTRPGs for a while, but new to Nimble, of course,
Yeah, new, well,
as
yeah,
most people are.
just while the group is newish or whoever is or
Mhm.
isn't, I would definitely lean toward easier encounters. Let them get used to like how everything
Yeah.
works, and then then
Mhm.
throw a challenging one.
They actually
Um,
appreciated that the encounter was hard because they felt like it let them flex their
okay, cool,
strategic muscles,
cool.
but it did feel like that it specifically, I felt there was a lot of damage issues across the board, but I was only providing feedback on the berserker because
Hmm.
the berserker was the new thing, so I wanted to
Okay.
focus in on that. But yeah, the well, like I said, the one who went down wasn't the berserker; it was the cheat who
Hmm.
was just wrecked in like 2 rounds. So
Yeah.
there's because they have no defensive options. So,
Yeah.
uh, there's that. But anyway, yeah,
Okay.
that's
Hey.
that's uh, that's what I got.
All right. Appreciate it. All
Cool.
right.
All right. Bye.
All right. See you. All right. Cool. Something to keep an eye on. Bruno says 5e's a nightmare. 5e's great. It's not the easiest thing to learn. 5e's great. No, we definitely stand on the shoulder of giants. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Bruno. He said earlier the player wanted to save their damage for attacks of opportunity rather than spin them. About feedback backlash, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's great feedback. Yeah. Okay. So it is 2 a.m. Let me see if there's anything else real quick that we can take a look at. Um, yeah. Um, I think a big part of it is starting at level three. Like level one is designed to be like, okay, this is how it works. Level two, a little bit more fully fledged, and then level three, like now we're making choices. We're making our subclass choices now. Like I understand what it means to like add this number to my fury dice, and like so. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a confluence of a lot of little things that a lot of adventures. Yeah, a lot of adventures start at level three. That's true. That's true. Um, if someone's going to sign up for level three adventure, then like there's good and bad that comes with it. You can jump right into the action, but then you're jumping right into the action. So um, first time I played, I don't think there was any combat, or like there was like one combat with like way too many goblins, and we didn't even make it. I don't know if we even made it through the one combat. So we started off on a very gentle ramp, and I didn't understand most of what was going on, but I had fun. Antis, I think Vampire Greek Bellic designed spell as low roll can instantly kill the player. Um, hey, if you're greedy. Um, five. Let's see. Okay, we fixed that. Creeping death. Yeah. That is like that is just part of necrotic spells where you can damage yourself. You have to be smart about where everybody is before you cast that. Shadow Blast should be high levels, not higher levels. Good point. Let's check that. Yep. Yeah. If I would treat them as if they were level 2 in terms of combat design for a challenging encounter. Yeah, for like an equal encounter. Yeah, if you had 5 level 2 monsters, um, and then like maybe one minion for each, like I think that would be it just gives everybody a little bit more padding to it would still feel challenging, but it wouldn't feel so frantic or frenetic or whatever, like where the one guy feels like, oh, I have to heal all the time and like I don't get to have fun, you know. I've never needed to adjust encounters down for new players in the past. Just relaying this, yeah, and maybe it's that maybe the problem is let's go to the gym guide that the encounters like maybe the monster builder monster levels need to be shifted down one level for each thing, you know, so that like maybe it's just an encounter balance chart problem, and like that's easy to fix, you know, if everything is like one level too hard. Uh, or like or maybe it's like the definition of challenging, like a challenging encounter, like challenging encounter in 5e is easy, right? Or a normal encounter is easy, but the way I define challenging is like someone's going down, right? Yeah, you didn't have to do, yeah, so yeah, there's a lot, there's a lot of moving parts. So maybe it's the case that like a level 3 monster should deal um, like a little bit less damage and have a little bit less hit points, right? So maybe everything just needs to be shifted down one, and then everything feels like the challenging encounter is now easier, and a hard encounter is challenging, and we shift everything down. Um, yeah, Lost Mine of Fendelver. Lost Mine of Fendelver. The first encounter is like incredibly deadly, or at least it can be. Um, we had like an orc barbarian, and he went, I run up to the goblins, and like he got shot with 5 arrows, and like he went to 0 like instantly. And then even with his orcish constitution or whatever, where he comes back to 1, he came back to 1 hit point, and then they shot him again, and he was like, he's done, right? So that kind of stuff happens. That kind of stuff happens. So it's good to know the feedback that haven't had those problems. We run those. That's good. That's great. You haven't had those problems running those adventures. Um, a lot of those adventures are just like really like whenever I ran the icy one, Frost Maiden, um, the encounters like all of them needed to be tweaked to make them either like not so boring that it's wasting my time, or not so hard that everybody dies. I always felt like I needed to pull punches or punch harder than was written. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on the chart as well as the guidance here. So maybe rather than challenging, it should say normal, and normal, you know, so that it's more 1-to-1. I've never played Curse of Strahd, but I've heard some bad things about what is it, the Bone Mill, where that one will kill you. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, I've heard some bad things. Like, hey, y'all gotta be careful about the the Bone Mill. So, maybe we just need to revise this. Challenging or normal is easy, and then have one more. You know, well, that's good feedback. That's good feedback. I do need to export the GM guide for the latest version so that people can have that and test it with the more complete guidance. I think this does make Berserker substantially less fiddly, more easy to work with. And it conflicts less with other classes that grant temp HP. So other classes do grant temp HP. So now this doesn't now they care about temp HP. Like it's helpful to get that. Like the commander can give temp HP and others can as well. So I like this change overall. I like that change overall. Something else that I'm gonna keep an eye on is at probably level 10. Level 10, we might want to add a. It also keeps the temp HP boon from being completely broken. What do you mean? Is there a temp HP boon? Are you talking about like up here? Boons? Is there a temp HP boon? Okay, yeah. Is there? Oh, when you gain temp HP, gain 5 more. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one. That's a bit of an outlier. Yeah, that one's a little bit of a spicy outlier. Yeah. Yeah, it would make that less broken. Still good, but not as broken. So I think level 10 might need, so up to level 9. So what would your strength be at level 9? So let's say your strength is 3 at level 1, 4, 5. So your strength is 5. So turn 1, you rage. Turn 2, you have 3. Turn 3, yeah. So probably by level 10, maybe like level 8. Maybe like somewhere around here, we probably need to either say, whenever you rage, gain 2 fury dice. Or just say gain 1 additional fury die. No, we'll say gain 2 fury dice. Oh, and we could call it rage. Rage 2. We just call it rage 2. You gain 2 fury dice. So that will fix. So like the cap gets higher. That will fix the. So either that. So whenever you rage, gain 2 fury dice instead. So that keeps the action economy down, which is good. And where's it? Let me just copy Intensifying Fury. This one would be a bigger buff. Intensifying Fury 2 would be if you roll 2 fury dice for free instead. So this lets you start off quicker. So turn 1, you start off with 2, and then 3 at the start of your second turn, and then 5 when you rage a second time. So that's pretty good. The other way, you would start off with 1, and then Intensifying Fury 2. If you rage, you get a 4th one. So this builds up faster if you spend your actions doing it, which I like. This one builds up more freely over time. So I think level 10 is a good level to have that. It might be a little bit late. So it might need to be at level 8. So at level 8, when you get that fifth skill point, the 5th strength or whatever, the 5th strength or dex, it's probably when you want to have this. So rather than Savage Arsenal 3, yeah, so Intensifying Fury, we're not going to do that. I think Rage 2 is where it's at. I think we can add it to somewhere around here. And then Savage Arsenal 3. We'll just make this Savage Arsenal 3. Or can we put a third one somewhere else? I wanted to comment on something here, though. I'm following the monster builder because that needs to be tested too. Oh, so Josh, one thing that I noticed in internal playtesting was that a number of the monsters were still on the 1.0 version before I made the table. So like all of the undead were hitting way above the weight class. Like they were hitting way harder than they should. And like a few of the others, like they were still using the filler numbers. So everything in here is correct now according to the latest table. But initially, some of the monsters, some of the pre-made monsters, they were still using just filler numbers and not the actual numbers for their monster level. So I did some playtesting with some undead. And like, man, this is way harder than than it should be. Like, and then I looked and like, yeah, like the ogre zombie was hitting like twice as hard as it should have, and like some of these other things. So it's fixed now. I think maybe tomorrow I'm gonna do some last updates to the GM guide to get it in a little bit better place, and I'll ship it out so people can play test with that without killing all their players. And I might redefine what is easy and what is challenging, what is hard. Okay, intensifying fury. So I think, yeah. I do have one question. Did I hear potential playtest tomorrow? My group just decided to start looking for a new system. Ooh, yeah. AJ Mac. Go ahead and try it out. One question. With the monster builder, you're supposed to adjust them down a level if they have special ability. But it feels like Nimble Design. Is that all monsters should have? It really feels like Nimble Design is that all monsters should have those abilities because they're cool. Yeah, maybe. So if you're doing it on the fly, you might not be able to pick like a cool ability on the fly. You might just want vanilla monsters, right? Yeah. So level 4. So I really want to front load like 2 or 3 of these abilities so you can like have different ones to play with. I don't want you to have just like one ability for too long, because like those are really cool. So level 3. Level 3, level 4, you get Savage Arsenal 1. All right, so I think what if we did So I think giving 2 Savage Arsenal abilities at the same time it might be too much, because you already got a lot going on. Level 5, your free dice are now D6s. Level 6. Yeah, I don't think we could put. I don't think we can put anything any sooner. Where do we put Rage 2? Okay, we put Rage 2 here at level 8. Let's cut that. I mean, like level 5 and level 10 is really where is really the common levels where you get like a big thing. So maybe level 10 is the correct level for it. I want to front load so much. Although Enduring Fury is a dying only ability, so it isn't too much more as its specific. Yeah, that's true. Enduring Rage. Yeah, and this makes Enduring Rage way better too. So while you're dying, you gain 2 Fury dice every single time at the beginning of your turn. Yeah. So if you're dying, you lose all your Fury dice because you're dying. At the beginning of your turn, you gain 2 Fury dice because you enter your Rage. At the beginning of your next turn, you gain 3 Fury dice because you enter your Rage, and from intensifying Fury. So like that's really cool. That's really cool. So you just like generate, like if you drop to 0 as a berserker like level 10, you're generating dice. You're generating dice. That's so cool. I would love to have that earlier. I'd love to have that earlier. How could we get that earlier? I'd like to, whenever you rage, gain fury, 2 fury dice instead. Maybe that should be the level 5 ability. We could just swap intensifying fury 2 and rage 2. If I wanted to purchase the Nimble V2 books PDF, should I wait? Yeah, just go ahead and get the current ones. You'll be sent a link. And then as I release new versions, you'll get sent an email when the new versions are released. Yeah, so go and get it if you want. The latest versions are perfectly fine for testing. Like most things are exactly the same. And then once new versions are released, it'll say like, hey, here's a new version. Use it if you like. And then on the Discord, there's also a changelog channel that one of the guys has very kindly offered to help with. Okay, so I think level 5 it might be the time to do that. Level 5 might be the time to do it. We're doing it. We're swapping Rage 2 and Intensifying Fury 2. So this is going to be Intensifying Fury 2 here. So level 9, you get Intensifying Fury 2. Level 9, they're D6. And then where did it used to be? Okay, level 10, level 9, level 10. Okay, so they should be spread out a little bit. So we don't want them back to back. Yeah, it does feel late. Yeah, I'm cooking. What if at level 6 you get D6s? That feels about right. Night Tigs. Rage 2, Fury Dice, gain 2 Fury Dice instead. And then they're D6s. And then you get your subclass feature. That's fine. We can leave that. Subclass features are always cool. And then you get a third ability. And then we get D6s. Okay, so yeah, now we can move Intensifying Fury 3 to level 9 because it doesn't feel good to get just a secondary stat increase. There we go. Now we're cooking. Level 10 feels a little bit meh, but that's only because we front loaded the cool stuff, which I prefer. Like, yeah, choosing a Savage Arsenal ability is cool. That is cool. Yeah, Berserker. Berserker's getting pushed. It's getting pushed pretty heavy. Anytime we talk about the Berserker, we're always making him a little bit better. We did take we took a little bit from this. So it's no longer 10 HP, but that's okay. All right, so what does it look like? Action, once per round. Roll a fear die, 1d4, set it aside. Add it to every strength attack you make. You can have a max of key fear dice at a time. They're lost when your rage ends. That makes sense? That all you got? When you're attacked, you may expend 1 or more fury dice to reduce the damage taken by strength plus dex for each dice spent. AJ Mac, you will not regret it. Well, you might regret it, but I hope you like it. I hope you like it. Have fun, man. If you're raging at the beginning of your turn, roll 1 fury die for free. And then you choose your subclass, then you can Bloodlust. I like Bloodlust. I think that is an underrated ability. You can just move. Like if you push index, you can be the fast berserker. Just move like super far for free, or just like move up to up to where you want for free, and you get more attacks. It's like spending a low fury die in order to move for free is way in like you still get your 3 attacks with the rest of your fury dice is much better than spinning a move, keeping all the fury dice. You get to hit more. Enduring rage while dying, you rage automatically free at the beginning of your turn. 2 actions instead of 1. Ignore the strength save to make attacks. That's sweet. And you get a Savage Arsenal ability and a stat increase. Level 4 is pretty spicy. Level 5, whenever you rage, gain 2 Fury Dice instead. That feels good. So you're hitting the cap quick. You're hitting the cap quick. Your cap is going to be 3 or 4 at level 5. So turn 1, you rage, boom. Intensifying Fury, gain a free one. And then you can, like, you get 2 more. You're already beyond your cap. So you're incentivized to spend all your free dice. Like, spend them. Yeah. I will say 1 plus Fury Dice is weird wording. Yeah. Spend 1 or more Fury Dice. Expend 1 or more Fury Dice on your turn to move for free. To move, yeah. I did it to save space, but I don't really need to save space. In order to move on your turn. Expend 1 or more Fury Dice on your turn. To move Dex spaces for free. Dex spaces per die spent for free. Let's see if that makes more sense. Expend 1 or more Fury Dice on your turn to move Dex spaces. It's an awkward worded thing. Oh, I thought it was just always giving you 1 extra space, as if you had to spend 2 when you spend 1. Okay, yeah. Expend 1 or more Fury Dice on your turn to move Dex spaces for free per die spent. That is the intent. So if your Dex is 3, you spend a Fury Die, you move 15 feet, move 3 spaces. If you expend 2 of your Fury Dice, you can move 6 spaces for free. You get a whole movement for free. Yep. Okay. So if you're already maxed out, nobody attacked you last turn, you have all 3 Fury Dice. You can go and you can burn one of them, move, and you get it back. Or like at the end of your turn, or whatever. Now that strength isn't added HP, I think that's an easier thing to expect. Yeah. Strength gives you more damage. Dex gives you more mobility, and they both give you more damage reduction. Yep. And a lot of the Savage Arsenal abilities are tied to Dex as well. So some are tied to Strength, some are tied to Dex. Like you can move that far. So. Oh, Bruno. Evan, why not capping Strength plus Dex? You start with 3 Strength 1 Dex or 2 Strength 2 Dex. So the cap won't change and the berserker will not feel bad. Say what now? Oh, the Fear Dice cap, instead of key, tying it to the sum of them. Because I think that might be too good. That might be too good. I'll think about it. So it's the top 2 are 4. So it's 4, 3, or 4. So having a maximum of 4 Fury Dice at level 1. I mean, you'd have to rage 4 times. You're spending 4 actions to do that. So having a max of 4 Fury Dice at level 1 probably isn't a problem. Okay. How quickly can you hit 4? All right, so you rage on your first turn. Beginning of your turn, intensifying fury, you rage again. I was reading chat and I lost my spot. Okay, so first turn you rage. That's probably all you do. Maybe you move. Maybe you attack. Maybe you throw a javelin. You rage. Beginning of turn, intensifying fury. You gain a fury die, and then say you rage again. Right. So second turn you have 3. And maybe you like. All right. Start of your next turn. You have so you have the max is 4. Start of your next turn. You intensifying fury. You're at your cap. So round 3 you're at your cap. Um, that's probably okay. That's probably okay. And it still scales. Still scales exactly the same. Still scales like 1. You get 1 additional. The cap increases by 1 every 4 levels. That does fix it. We're increasing the cap a little bit. Yeah. So the cap at level 5. So say you start with 4. Level 4, your cap is 5. Instead of what? Your cap is at level 4, your cap is 5 instead of 3 or 4. That's fine. It's just 1 more. Like if we do strength plus dex instead of the key, it's only 1 more, right? Am I? It's 2 more if you choose standard. It's 1 more if you min max. It's 1 more if you choose balance, and it's 2 more if you choose standard. Which standard array could use some love. The art is incredible. Hey, thanks. Glad you like it. There's even more coming. There's even more coming. Ooh, I need to email the girl who's making the vampire art. Email vampire art girl. She sent me a proof and I didn't email her back. Hey guys, gotta go. All right, Bruno, see you, man. I'm about a beat feed as well. Yeah. So let's go and tweak that. Let's tweak this. You can have a max of strength plus dex for your dice at a time. But it brings it to 2 lines. Or it adds a line. I don't like that. Roll a fury dice, set it aside. Add it to every strength attack you make. You have a max of strength plus. No, that doesn't make sense. You can have a fury dice. Do we need at a time? You can have a max of strength plus dex fury dice. There you go. They are lost when you rage ends. We don't need at a time. We don't need at a time, right? I don't think you need at a time. Oh yeah, you got there. We got there. Great minds, Josh. Great minds. Okay. All right. Start off talking about spells. Let me remind myself where we ended with spells. Did we end the spells discussion in a good spot? Icy spikes, 2d6. Yeah, 2d6 felt pretty spicy. No, that's fine. Frost Nova. So I because some of these spells moved around, I think I'm gonna have to double check the numbers on the ice spells. But I do like Unspeakable Word better. And I like the Ice School a lot better. Ice School definitely got some love. Okay, I should probably get to bed. It's 3 a.m. almost. All right, let's turn off this recording.